Earth is very flat.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing all right. It is Tuesday, February 11th, 2021. I'm Brandon for Brandon's show. What's going on today? Let's see who's in chat. That's a good place to start. Almost unbelievable, Ranty. What's up, man? Did watch that video, your last one you just put out. That was very interesting. Very interesting. Ian Adams, page 42, Chrissy Heavey, Taboo. We got YouTube, Bill G, Enigma. Let's see here. Who else we got? The Plain Truth. And more to come, I'm sure. Hope everybody's doing pretty good. Let me know if you guys can hear me well. I messed around with some stuff overnight. Hopefully everything's working good now. We'll see, huh? Time will tell. All right. Let me see. What do we got going on tonight? We have some stuff in the queue here. SpaceX is getting ready to launch a all-civilian mission. They've got a pretty interesting marketing campaign. We could talk about that a little bit. Got some more examples of space fakery that I thought were pretty funny. Sounds good. Thank you very much, Bill. Crowdfunding to send a man to space. This is like the second of these articles we've seen in the last month. This one has actual names in it. So I thought we might do a little on-air research and try to figure out who this person is, if anybody's heard of him. But somebody's trying a very yet unsuccessful campaign to raise $250,000, or actually I think it's euros, 250,000 euros to send a flat earther in space. Yeah, it's not going to happen. But we'll see. Maybe they'll prove us wrong, and one of us flat earthers will get to go. Actually, I don't think I'd go, to be honest with you. I'd be too afraid of it blowing up, or they'd probably make you sign a bunch of NDAs and all kinds of weird shit. It'd be just one big marketing campaign. If you want to support the show, let me put the link in the chat for Streamlabs. There you go. And that'll be pinned to the top during the show. Any support is appreciated. The best way you can support the show is to come with an idea or argument, proof, whatever. Join the show. Join us in Discord. Join the conversation. Lots of new people lately joining the Discord, so I appreciate it. Come on in. It's starting to get pretty busy in there, which is nice. We got a lot of people pushing back on our professional baller trolls, which is always fun to do. So if you've got some time to kill and want to bang your head against a wall, come on in. I've got quite a few people in Discord. So tonight the words arc and chord are banned from discussion, unless you guys want to talk for another hour or two about the differences between an arc and a chord. You just let me know. I'm more than happy to arrange that. I can arrange for a full show. We could spend an hour a day talking about the difference between an arc and a chord. You guys let me know. Let's go to Discord. Let's say hello to everybody, and we'll see what they're talking about. Quite a few people in there.
You get out in the middle, and you take a fucking measurement in the middle, bro.
Yeah, that's what I would do. That's why I said I would take two measurements in the middle. Maybe you can't get to the middle in Rumpus's example. Maybe it's, I don't know, over some fucking cliff.
So Ruth, when you've worked out, say, your refraction for any observations that you've done, mate, and you've had your different measurements, temperature readings and all that sort of stuff, your databases, have you worked out, if you would only take the readings from point A, have you worked out what those readings were, what that refraction would be, if you were only taking it to, say, point B, what that measurement would be, and then what the average would be? Like, do these calculations, when you've got more measurements and more readings involved, how much do your calculations at the end of the day vary from every set of data points? Because you can go every single meter between you and the object you're trying to work out, and you could probably get a different reading every single meter. So my question is, how much does it actually vary over that distance, mate? Have you got any idea?
So different, but close, right? But different, but very, very close to each other, right? Okay. So there are weather balloon stations that release data every day. You can download that data, and they basically take readings on the way up as they get to whatever altitude they get to. So they take all these
Yeah.
readings on the way up. If you take any two of those readings, say between 50 meters and 150 meters, your calculations will give you the average density gradient at 100 meters.
Right.
Yeah. So let's say your line of sight for your observation is 100 meters above the surface, you'll have a pretty accurate idea of refraction.
So if you only had two data points, say point A and point B, that density layer at 100 meters would be fairly constant. But if you were to have, say, 100 different meetings between point A and B, you're saying that once you work out all those averages, it'd be very similar as if you only had the two sets of data points compared to 100 set of data points over that period. Yeah? It'd be fairly similar. Okay then. Yeah. Okay.
What if we were measuring, Ruhip, what if we were measuring something to within 16 arc seconds? How many points?
What do you mean? What do you mean measuring something? What are you talking about?
We're measuring an angle within 16 arc seconds. How many refraction measurements do you think we need for that? We just going to do an average?
That doesn't change. That doesn't change how many measurements you make.
So we're just going to do an average and measure something to within 16 arc seconds, you think?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
How do you know if your measurement's even close? You just took an average on the refraction.
Yeah, it's going to be close. Do you guys know how much?
Close
let's say
within
we're measuring
16.
from. Let's say we're measuring.
Sorry, please forgive me. I'm all worked up. I've been in gems all day.
That'll do that to you. I was going to say. So my experiment that I did out in California desert, right? The difference in predictions between a flat Earth model and the globe model is actually fucking orders of magnitude larger than 16 arc seconds.
Right. I was just talking about for the main surveyors, plumb lines not being parallel.
Hey,
How
did you get a prediction for what the flat Earth would have?
Because I have to imagine what the flat Earth model is, because you guys can't.
He's a flat Earthologist.
We can't imagine it, or we haven't imagined it, Ruhip. We're not willing to make up a story.
Oh, the question is, Ruiv. The question is, Ruiv, how do you imagine it, Ruiv? How do you imagine the flat Earth? How did you work it out?
My flat Earth model is where the datum is flat. So if I'm at 900 meters elevation and I look across at a point that is also 900 meters elevation, and you guys refuse to incorporate refraction, I'm going to say I should be looking perfectly horizontal at that. 0 degrees. That is my prediction. Would you guys like to make your prediction as to what you should see?
Well, that's a pretty big prediction to look at something that's so far away.
Did I say how far away it was?
Sure.
Well, how far away is it? Is it right next to me, or is it 900 miles away?
30 k's away. It was 30 k's, I think, thereabouts.
So,
I
Ruhip,
predict there to. Go ahead.
So, Ruhip,
I
I
make
would
predictions
agree.
for you.
Yeah, I would agree that you're going to look out at 0 degrees and see what's in front of you. I agree.
Excellent. Because we don't see that in reality.
Okay, so you are talking,
and therefore, what's the therefore?
I don't know. It's your.
Therefore, the Earth is not flat. Therefore, the
It
Earth
is
is
flat.
not flat.
No,
That's what comes after.
absolutely not, bro. Absolutely not.
You just said you expected to see it at 0 degrees. You don't see it at 0 degrees.
Okay.
Well,
So
making a lot of assumptions.
Listen, what I mean by that is that when I look out and just basically keep my posture the way it normally does, and I'm looking straight ahead. Like right now, I'm on the Chesapeake Bay taking shots, right? So I can see the water end, and I can see the distant land, if you want to call that the horizon. That's fine with me. When I stand up, it's right in front of me, bro.
Okay. Is that a looks flat to me?
No, that's not the issue. I'm talking about simply just standing and just looking in the direction of your observation. It's going to be at your eye level.
So it looks flat to me is what you're saying?
No.
With 0 measurements. Well, make a measurement then.
Okay, listen. The amount of measurements that would be required in my book, I would have to have someone at the observation taking measurements, and I would have to have someone in the middle taking observation or measurements. So I'm not going to have any measurements right now, bro. I don't have a team to do that.
Okay.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that when I'm looking out straight ahead of me, I can see the red roof house right in front of me, bro. It's
Okay.
right there.
Looks flat to you. Looks flat to you. Good for you.
No, listen to the words that are coming. Don't put words into my mouth. I'm saying
You're not making any measurements though.
it doesn't matter. I'm looking and seeing. That's what it is.
Okay.
Just like I can see the seagull flying in the air. It's not at my eye level, but I see it.
Yeah,
But you don't have
still
a
looks
measurement
flat
of
to
the
you.
seagull.
Make a measurement, make a prediction, compare the two.
Yeah, okay, so if you're telling me that, then none of your observations qualify as anything because you don't have adequate information.
What
Exactly.
information would you like?
Besides,
What
that's
information-
just statistics and probability. That's not science.
What information are
You're
you
working on
after?
averages, and maybe this
Oh,
is
dear.
happening, maybe it's not. We're
Hey,
checking.
the
We're checking.
refraction-
We're making
You're
measurements
after
to see if the
refraction
Earth's a
information.
sphere. We're taking measurements to see if Earth's a sphere, and you're putting 7/6R in the refraction calculation.
Where do you think 7/6R comes from? Explain 7/6R to me.
Your imagination.
No, it doesn't come from my imagination.
Reverse engineering.
There's no R. Ruhif.
No,
There's
it's not
R.
reverse engineering.
There's no R, Ruhif.
If the Earth is a globe and refraction is, well, let's say refraction
But
is
it is
22.
not. Therefore, the if does not matter. It
No.
must be.
Do you
There
not
can be no
understand what a
if.
hypothesis? Do
You
you
don't
not understand
understand
what a
that.
hypothesis is? Do you understand
can't
what a
prove the
hypothesis
curve.
is?
There's no R.
I know this isn't
So
a
even
Do you
if you
hypothesis.
think that there's
understand?
one that you can't prove does not make it real.
Do
Making it
you
real
understand
mathematically
what
does
a
not make it real in
hypothesis
reality.
is?
You are
What
trying
is
to
a
say math is
hypothesis?
reality when it's not. The
What
R
is
is
a
not reflected
hypothesis?
in what is reality.
What is a
Jimbo, it
hypothesis?
sounds like
Hypothesis.
your mic sounds like it's in your mouth, Jimbo. You might be a little too close.
Ruhif, an
Okey-doke.
hypothesis is an educated guess.
Sure. Yep.
For the cause of an effect.
It's silly to say that maths
So what-
ain't reality, Jimbo. It's silly.
What do you
right, to
need
say
to
that.
do? What do you need to do to test a hypothesis?
Ruhif,
Experiment.
You need to assume that it's true. Work out what happens if it is
No,
true.
you don't need to
No.
assume
Yes,
anything
exactly.
is true.
No.
What
That's
is
exactly
true
what
is
you
true.
do.
No, there's no
No,
assumption.
this is
Ruhif.
a hypothesis.
There's no assumption.
This is how you test a hypothesis. You go, what would happen? What would I see if it was true?
No, that's not true.
That is exactly what you do.
Okay, listen. I'm making observations. I have them on. Okay. Just take the red roof in for example. I have a direct line of sight to the boat dock with the boat being drawn out of the water on video. So that's a line of sight to the other shoreline. Then I have other images where you can't even see the shoreline. Okay, there's no predictions. That's what I see. That's it. It's an observation.
I'll make a prediction. I predict that you're really close to the surface where the refractivity gradient is incredibly variable and you'll get incredibly variable results.
Hold on,
So
hold on.
my suggestion is for you to get above the surface, at least 30 meters.
Ruhif, again, we're at that.
Ben, so I
Making a
think
fucking noise.
Listen
somebody's
very
dragging
Oh,
something
sorry,
around. Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
Ruhif, listen very carefully. My observations are made from the same observation point. So regardless of whether or not you like how high I am, that's the control factor, is that I'm making them from the same point each time. So on day 1, I have a direct line of sight to the shoreline. On day 7, I don't.
What is your distance? What is your height above the surface?
5.5 feet.
Okay, so you're way too close to the surface to get
That's
reliable
got
results.
nothing to do with it. It's an
It
observation.
does.
No, it doesn't. I'm not making any predictions. It's an observation, Ruhif.
Yeah, I predict that your results will be all over the place because the refractivity gradient will be all over the place.
Okay, great. So you will then
Excellent.
eliminate.
Okay.
Okay, so listen. Okay, my question then is, at what point are you going to reject every single baller's image of boats going over the curve?
I don't reject them because unfortunately this is a one-sided argument. If the bottom of the boat is hidden, you know, it's Earth curve. This
No,
is
it's not.
unfortunate for you guys.
No,
This is
listen. Hold on.
unfortunate.
So if
Go, dude.
B-ball for life, hold on. So if B-ball for life sets his camera up at 5.5 feet
What are you doing?
and shows a boat with its bottom obstructed, you're okay with that?
If there's no miraging, yeah.
No. Then you fail to understand that refraction as a phenomenon creates distortion and obstruction even without a mirage.
A distortion. A mirage is a distortion.
Okay, listen very carefully to my statement one more time. Refraction as a phenomenon without a mirage will create distortion and obstruction that is not Earth curve.
Not obstruction. Not obstruction.
Yes, I can prove it. I have on my channel.
Go for your life. I'm not going to watch your channel, Travis.
Okay, well then fuck off.
Oh, fuck you too, motherfucker. Come at me, bro.
All right. Well, there's a break in the action there. It was a good conversation. Interesting. I got something to say about that in a minute, but we'll say hello to everybody.
All right.
We got
Should I
LEB.
stay?
Of course
Should
you
I
can
stay,
stay.
or should I go into the car? Oh, I'm literally at the car park, which is underground, and should I go in or should I park outside for a minute?
You should go
That's
fuck
I'll
yourself.
park outside for a minute.
Totally
Fuck
up
you,
to
man.
you, Ruhif.
All right, I'll park outside for a while.
All right. LEB, what's up, Allie? Bandsaw Bandit. How you doing, Bandsaw?
Hey, Brandon. Just a quick point here on something Jimbo just said, that maths ain't reality. All right? I agree with that. Maths ain't reality. But for fuck's sake, if we're going to keep on using numbers, refraction, Earth curve, vacuums, all these numbers...
You can
We've got to
pretend to use all those numbers. I
We've
won't
got to
just
stop.
ramble on and down what I have to say. The hell with you. You want to
We
make
use
math
them.
reality? That's what
We
you're trying to impose here.
Use them.
We impose the R value.
You're using them
We
to
need it for our
disprove
math,
reality.
for our Earth curve, and for all the other bullshit. And we're saying, no,
You're
you can't
using them.
prove the R, and there's no observable curve. There's no
Girls. He hasn't
There's
said hello
none
to
of
me yet.
that.
But anyway, good.
So anyway,
good
this
morning,
is time
Brandon.
for your speech. He was saying hello to everybody. Let him finish what he was doing.
All right. Well, we got time to get into that. Well, give me a minute, and then we'll pick up the conversation. Sounds like there's something to
Well,
discuss
fucking
there.
hello, Brandon? How you doing?
What's up, Jimbo? Good, man. How you doing? And we got Extremists in the house. What's up, Extremists? Yo, Travis.
Hello,
on the road, brother?
What up?
Hello. Hey, that chirping thing that happens with your mic sometimes is happening again when you're not talking.
You talking to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll go.
Must be talking to you. There's no one else
All
here.
Shut the fuck up, Ruhif.
Jeremy. What's up, Jeremy? He just
What's up?
He just changed his name. Point F.
I
What's up?
misspelled it. Yeah, misspelled.
You
Typo.
misspelled point G and you spelled it point F?
There we go. Point G.
Okay. All right.
What's
Well, they
up?
are right next to each other, so it's understandable. What's up, man? Ruhif, did you park your car or did you stay outside? I'm dying to know now.
I'm parked outside.
Okay, good. SE Montreal,
Hey, Brandon.
how you doing?
Good. What's up with everybody?
What's up? Bob Dole. What's up, Bob?
Hello.
Hello. Now I did want to say one thing about what you guys were talking about that bothers me, which is when somebody will say, on a flat earth, it should be like this. That's my prediction. You're predicting what's going to happen on a flat Earth. And then you go and you take the observation, you go, well, it's not like that, so the Earth isn't flat. I don't know the exact name of the fallacy, if there is one, but it sounds like kind of a reverse.
Again.
It's like
that's not a fallacy.
It sounds like a reverse. It's kind of a reverse reification, maybe.
Well, they're trying to make the math reality, but in a backdoor way. That's all.
Well, I mean, you got to get
my point is
math to be the reality.
My point is, who's to say the way you think it should be on a flat Earth is the way that it should be?
Well, the prediction is still statistical.
You guys have had 5 years, 6 years almost, to come up with some sort of predictive model, and you've got nothing.
We don't live on models. And even if we had a model, it doesn't reflect the reality. Just like the map does not reflect the terrain.
Models are an attempt to reflect reality.
No.
Models are an attempt to reflect reality.
And it's
barely an attempt. If I take your mathematical equations and your models for calculating things on your imaginary ball Earth, and I change the name of the variables, and I say, here's my calculations for how to make predictions on a flat Earth, will the model then become reality?
What do you mean models become reality? They don't become reality. They reflect reality.
Well, you won't be able to
correspond.
You won't be able to debunk it based on yours, because I'm giving you, this is how you calculate this on a flat Earth. And then you use it and you take your observation, you go, oh shit, it matches.
So hang on. What are you doing? You're saying I'm taking the flat Earth model, making a prediction, and it doesn't match reality?
Here's my hypothesis. Here's my hypothesis, okay? Let's say for a 3-mile observation from 6 feet, I don't expect to see anything. I expect a 6-foot item to be completely hidden. Right? Would that work? How far would it have to be for it to be 6 feet hidden?
Does your model incorporate refraction?
Sure. Yeah, that's refraction causing that. So,
so take refraction into account.
Okay,
take refraction into account.
All right. Now I got a calculation. I have essentially your ball model calculations that you think are correct, but I changed the variable names, and it's the flat Earth model now.
Okay, whatever.
All right. So I'm gonna make predictions with my new model, which is your model renamed with the variables renamed, and they're going to turn out to be correct. Does that then make my flat Earth model correct?
Yeah. It doesn't. You know what affirming the consequent is, right? So it doesn't make it correct. It means it's not falsified, and the more you not falsify it, the better it is.
Well, then you can't falsify my flat Earth model, Ruhif.
Okay, that's
so when you guys do it, it's not.
I'll accept your renamed globe model as a flat Earth model and say the Earth is flat. Happy with that?
Yep.
So when you guys do it, it's not affirming the consequence. But if Brandon does it, it is.
Welcome to the globe.
Welcome to flat Earth.
That's fine.
I thought you've been there all along. Who knew?
Yes. All right. Like I said on Bevs for months, words don't have actual intrinsic meanings. They're just sounds that our mouths make to convey an idea.
Well, so the way you calculate things on the flat Earth gives you the impression that you're on a globe because of some of the relationship between the variables. So that's why if you tried to draw it out using these calculations, and the assumptions that we use to calculate things on our flat Earth, you would get the impression it would turn out to be a ball on paper. But in actuality, it is a flat Earth. That's just the way the calculations look.
Well, Ruhif just said it's affirming it's affirming the consequent if you do it. But if he does it, apparently it's fine.
No. The way falsification is a correct way of assessing a model. You can never 100% prove a model. All right. All you can say is, here's my model. I'm going to make some predictions with it. If my prediction matches reality, I have a higher confidence that model does in fact reflect reality. That's as far as you can go. That's all science does.
No, that's not true.
That's not.
That's not true.
Okay, then prove something scientifically to me. Go.
Why is it not true?
Water boils at 101 or 100 degrees at 14.7 psi.
That's a measurement. That's not actually a scientific proof of anything.
We're looking for the cause. Are we looking for the cause of the effect?
Yeah, what's the cause of water boiling at those numbers?
Heat. 100
Okay, prove that.
degree temperature.
Prove that heat causes water to boil.
Really?
Hey, Jeremy.
Yes.
It probably won't work. It probably won't work. He doesn't necessarily share the same definition of proof.
Prove heat causes water to boil? You don't,
Yes.
you
God
don't know
bless
that
you,
that's true?
Rufus. It's so
Do
nice
it.
to hear you.
Yeah,
say
welcome to
stupidity like this.
solipsism. Welcome
God
to
bless you.
solipsism.
Literally prove that heat causes water to boil. How will you do it?
I'm gonna manipulate my independent variable like you guys can never do.
You put a
And,
pot of
you're
water on the stove.
Right. So you're
Turn
going
on
to
the
heat
heat.
something. You're going to heat something, and the water boils. Is that what you're going to do?
That's right.
Right. So if heat causes water to boil, then if I apply heat, it will cause the water to boil. Well done. You've just affirmed the consequent. I have boiled water. Therefore heat. Well done. Affirm the consequent. Fallacy.
No, that's not affirming the consequent. That's having
It
evidence to
absolutely
support.
is.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's
So you're
not.
saying heat doesn't cause water to boil?
I'm not saying that. I believe heat causes water to boil.
It's known to be a fact because you can prove it scientifically.
You cannot prove it scientifically. You cannot.
We can have our independent variable, our control variable,
Yeah.
and
again,
a hypothesis. I mean, you can formulate this. What?
Give me a logical syllogism that heat causes water to boil.
You don't need a logical syllogism. I can give you the
If you want
hypothesis.
proof,
Science. I
if
can give
you
you the
want
scientific. I can give you the scientific evidence. Not. This
prove
isn't
something,
logic.
It's also not
This
logic.
isn't logic.
Not logic.
This is scientific evidence.
All right, let me jump in real quick, okay? My observations, a prediction that I will make in general is.
Your
You're
mic's
breaking
cutting
up,
out.
that is.
Okay, how about now?
You sound far
better?
away
Keep
for
going.
some reason.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna take it off my.
Oh, all right.
Hold
How's that? Is that any better?
Lots better. Thank you.
Yeah, Bluetooth. Okay, so here's a general prediction. If I cannot see the shoreline on the red roof house observation, it is due to either an inferior mirage or an other refractive distortion, or refractive phenomenon. How's that?
That's not a prediction.
Yeah, it is. If I can't see it, it's because of. That's a prediction.
Yeah, and then you see that.
I mean, usually when you make a
when,
prediction, you want to you want to quantify something. It's not enough to just say it's either that or that. That's my opinion, at least. You want to quantify something.
Okay, well, that's why I said it was a generalization right now. Okay.
Okay.
More specific. Is this Yossi?
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Okay.
Okay. No, but I would appreciate your input in helping us to solidify and maybe come to an agreement on what an adequate approach for a scientific experiment would be. If we want to come up with 4 steps, 3 steps, 7 steps.
It really depends on the context and what you are trying to test.
Well, if you're doing science, you're looking for the cause of the effect, no?
Yeah, right. So the question a minute ago was, if I heat water, heating water is the cause of it boiling, right? So
that's not the actual. I mean, do you want the hypothesis, the actual hypothesis?
No, heat applied to water causes it to boil is adequate. That's fine, right?
All right.
So I apply heat to water. My result is that the water boils, right? You cannot go from I have boiled water to therefore the heat causes it. That is affirming the consequent. If you're testing
okay, listen very carefully. I tried to change the trajectory of this conversation. I went to the observation of the Red Roof Inn. Okay, I'm asking you, Ruhif. Yeah. I'm asking you, based on my generalization of an hypothesis, if I cannot see the shoreline of the Red Roof Inn location, it is because of either a mirage or an other refractive phenomenon. How's that?
That's your hypothesis, okay? If I can't see it, it's because of mirage or something.
Or a refractive phenomenon.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. And I can demonstrate that. So there you go.
No, you can see a refractive phenomenon and then attribute it to not being able to see the thing.
No, I can show you a line of sight observation with the shoreline, and I can show you a line of sight observation without the shoreline. Why can I not see it on the one? Because of either a mirage or an other refractive.
Again, you're making an inductive argument, which will necessarily affirm the consequent.
Okay,
Yeah.
your
I
science
think Yossi. I had a chat to
bollocks.
Yossi last night about this.
Yeah, your science is bollocks.
Well, show me again. Prove to me that heat causes water to boil. Prove it with a logical syllogism. I guarantee.
You don't need logic for this. This is not a logical argument. That is a scientific. That is scientifically proven. No logic.
Well. The problem is that.
Sorry, can someone else call that shit out?
The problem is that
It's
when you talk about proof, you talk about logic. That's the thing.
Yes.
We're talking about scientific proof.
Yeah,
of an experiment, when you validated the result of an experiment, once you validated either your null or your alternate hypothesis, you now have proof that one or the other
you
happened.
Falsified something. You falsified. You haven't proved anything. Anyway, Yossi, I'm pretty sure Yossi knows all this sort of shit. So
knows what? Sorry.
Eh?
No, knows. I mean, specifically knows.
You're asking for a logical argument when we're talking about scientific evidence. Scientific proof.
You've thrown out logic, right?
No,
I'm throwing out scientific proof of something, not logic.
Yeah, you cannot prove something scientifically. You can falsify something, but you cannot prove
That's
it.
according to your science.
That's nonsense.
Well, again, prove to me that heat causes water to boil.
Ruhif, you know how an experiment works, Ruhif?
I do. Yeah.
Like I said.
So you have an alternate and a null hypothesis, right?
Yep.
And at the end, only one of them is going to be true, right?
Yeah, the one you didn't falsify. Oh, no, not necessarily. You falsify.
Oh, no.
One. You falsify one. That doesn't make the other one true. That doesn't prove the other one.
Yeah, it seems like you guys are working from two different definitions of proof. That's what it seems like.
There is one colloquial
validate. Okay, you validated. One of them is validated. Either your null or your alternate, right?
One of them you have a higher confidence in. It was not falsified.
No, one of them's validated, Ruhif.
It wasn't falsified.
Does that word scare you?
It wasn't falsified. I think is a more accurate way of saying it.
No, you've either validated your alternate or you validated the null.
No, you falsified one and you haven't falsified the other one.
You're walking away from this.
To falsify. What?
Walking away from this with one of those two things validated. There's no third option.
No, you cannot prove something scientifically. You can try to break it. The whole point of scientific theory is that you try and break it. If you do your best,
you're never checking for the null. Always checking for your alternate.
Yeah, you try and break.
Hold on, just real quick. We're letting Ruhif again get away with hearsay. Ruhif, please produce as early a citation that says that science does not prove.
Travis.
Okay, I want the earliest one. All right, the earliest one after the last scientist.
Go read Karl Popper.
Okay,
Karl Popper falsification.
After the last scientist died and they rewrote science, I'd like that citation that says science doesn't prove anything.
I'm not going to do your work. Well, okay. Literally go and Google the phrase scientific proof with quotes and read the first page of stuff. All right, I have entered the car park. So I shall catch you guys later.
Wait, I got one question to ask you before you go, Ruhif. Okay, it won't take long. It's a yes or no question. My model of how Polaris, the angle to Polaris on my flat Earth is that as you move north or south in the northern hemisphere, Polaris will rise or fall 10 degrees for every 10 degrees in latitude you go either north or south. Can you falsify that, my model?
Well, make it an explanation, not just a, make it a predictive model.
Yeah, it is. It's a predictive model.
Yeah, but why does it do that? Why does it do that?
What do you mean? Why does it do that? That's the amount it moves.
Yeah, but why? That's not an explanation. That's just an observation.
Perspective, refraction, a whole bunch of reasons.
Yeah.
You can throw buzzwords at me, but actually, make like a mathematical prediction, right? With geometry.
I did make a mathematical prediction. You need
you
the
just gave me the
calculation. I can give
observation.
you a calculation for it.
All you need is
just
the.
give me the
You don't need
observation.
math. Hold on, you don't need math for this. All you need is the cause of an effect.
Yeah. Let me know if you can falsify
You
it.
need
Think
an
about it.
explanation.
Try to falsify it.
Read it again.
I don't need an explanation. I don't need a story.
You do.
No.
Yes, you do. If you want to make a prediction,
I can make a prediction. I can predict it perfectly.
Your explanation has to make predictions. You are just telling me the observation.
My calculations that I have to go along with it make the predictions perfectly. I validated it. I can't falsify. I can't falsify my model.
How do they make the prediction? You've just repeated the observation.
Okay, so do you agree that math is not science then?
Math is a very big part of science, yes.
Okay, but you're saying that science can't prove things, but math can prove things. So math can't be part of science. Math is not science.
No, math can prove things. Math is part of science. Science can't prove things.
In science, you're just trying to. I don't. It's fucking worthless with these people.
Seriously, like my last comment on this will be: Google the phrase "scientific proof" in quotes. So both words in quotes. Google it. Read the first 5 to 10 hits. All right. And with that, I'll catch you guys later. See you.
Okay. Now that we're gone.
I think that what we try to say is that I'm not sure, but I just think that you can prove mathematical claims using math, right? I mean, you can prove like that circle has this circumference or the Pythagorean theorem or whatever within math. Okay, so you can prove mathematical things with math, but you can't use math to prove something in reality. However, wait, let me finish. However, math is the language in which usually, is the language in which you use to express scientific idea. So
all right,
that's the thing.
I don't know which one of these he wants us to look at: scientific evidence, Wikipedia, or scientific proof is a myth, Forbes. But neither of those seem like very good sources to determine what the mainstream scientific community thinks science is.
Hold on a second. I'm about to say a statement of fact, and this is not up for debate or questionable. At the end of your experiment, you have either validated your null or you validated your alternate hypothesis. It's not up for debate, and it's not a question. It's a fact.
What do you mean by saying validated? Like it's proven? What do you mean by saying validated?
What do you think validate means? I don't know. Do you want to get a dictionary or a thesaurus or something and see what validated could mean?
I can go and read what it means in the dictionary, of course, but sometimes
you should know that if you know what science is, you should know this.
But the thing is,
you're using pseudoscience.
I think that in science, what you do is you validate a prediction.
You validate what you do is you do an experiment, and at the end of it, you either have a null or a alternate hypothesis validated. The problem is the globe's using pseudoscience, so you can't work like that.
The way I see it, the way I understand science, I'm not a scientist, okay, but this is what I understand. When you do a single experiment, you validate the prediction. However, when we say something like, okay, we validated a theory or hypothesis in a more general way, what we meant to say is that we did a lot of experiments in a lot of different conditions, and this gives us a high degree of certainty.
No. With pseudoscience, when you're doing pseudoscience. I thought you were done. My bad.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I might be wrong. I'm not.
You are wrong. You are.
But I'm just saying this is how I understand it.
All right. Okay,
whatever
so like,
I know so far. So
okay, great. So what we should do, because Yossi seems very reasonable, is allow him to outline for us the steps of what he would consider a scientific method for an experiment, and then discuss that. Yep, you okay with that, everybody?
Unfortunately, I can't do that because there is no one definitive scientific method.
There are critical steps needed when
Yeah,
when coming to it.
Yeah,
no,
right.
no. I mean, and you not always
Yossi.
apply it.
No, Yossi, listen. This is crazily the same response that I got when I asked this on Jose's channel. All I did was say, let's come to an agreement, okay? We're not writing a paper. We're not submitting it for peer review. We're having a discussion as to what you and I or the panel would say, yeah, you know what? Those 5 steps seem reasonable. That's all I'm asking for.
Some of these Globers know this shit. Oh, my bad. Go ahead. My bad.
So I can give a general method, but I will just say that before I give it, that I don't think it's applicable for some cases. Anyway, but generally, you would probably want to come with some hypothesis, okay, for something you observe, right? And then
Okay,
based.
how about this, Yossi? According to me, in my opinion, the first step in making a scientific experiment is to have an observation of something in the physical world that is not the result of man. It's a natural.
If man does it, we know.
No, I don't agree.
So
everything is natural. Everything is natural.
Sorry. Good evening, everybody. I do apologise to interrupt, but when we are talking about good evening, everyone. When we are talking about observing something happening in the physical and natural world, right? In science, natural science, we are trying to figure out what caused that to happen.
Exactly.
That's the hypothesis, right? We must observe something happening, then our best guess is to what causing it to happen. Independent variable, dependent variable. That's your hypothesis, your supposition into the cause of the effect. You then move forward and test your hypothesis. So step 1, step 2, dependent and independent variables. Step 3, your experiment. Right, now you must test, physically manipulate the cause, what you presume it to be, and then it either is or it isn't. Right, you've got to control everything else. Right, everything must be the same under all conditions. If all conditions are the same, when you manipulate this, that happens. You then step 4, repeat and I'll be very quick, mate. You then step 4, repeat and verify this. Now you can chuck in a couple of other things to do if you want to collect data and base things on previous knowledge. All right, fine. But if we're talking about natural science and a hypothesis and experiment, you've got to formulate the hypothesis, and then you've got to have the experiment, and then you've got to do it again and again. So 4 steps.
That was pretty much it, down to a T right there.
Seems reasonable to me too.
That's right.
This is kind of the point I was trying to make with Ruha for, because they're always going on about it, the model can predict things. I can predict things. And I was trying to show how ridiculous that is, because you could just come up with anything that predicts it. You back engineer anything and then say, well, it's because it's a ball or it's because it's flat. Come out the other side with.
You could look at a clock with second hands on it and go, well, I predict that in 1 hour, the big hand's going to fall on the 1 because there's little magical wizards behind the wall controlling the clock. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can come up with anything if you want to do dumb shit like that.
Yeah. You can back engineer anything that you need to match exactly with your model.
Yeah. And when we're always talking about predictions, it's always based upon that model. Predictions of something always happening, what stars in the sky and moon cycle. Yeah. That's not what we're talking about within a hypothesis or a scientific prediction, where you predict the cause of what is causing the effect that you observe in nature to happen. Right? Not the same type of prediction.
Yeah. Cause and effect, I'm good with. For sure.
At the end of it, at the end of this whole thing, you've proven something. I know that the ballers won't admit that you can prove things because their pseudoscience doesn't prove shit, but you do prove things with science.
They don't like that word.
Okay. You scientifically prove things with science.
Well, this is built into the hypothesis, right? You either validate or invalidate the cause. It either does it or it doesn't. And when it doesn't, you've demonstrated it don't. It's that simple.
That's your null hypothesis, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't do what you thought, your null's been validated and you think of something else.
Right. I think that at least it seems to me like Ruhif was working from the definition of proof that is it's a misunderstanding of what proof means. Proof does not mean that it is an absolute truth within the universe that a thing is so. That's not what proof is. We don't have access to that in science in the way that he seems to be describing, and I don't think that you're claiming that we do. But in the realm of science, the standard of science, you can scientifically prove something to be so. How do you do that? Well, you use the scientific method. That is the standard you're referring to when you say scientific proof. Just like whenever you want to prove something mathematically, you say there is a mathematical proof that this thing is so. And then you demonstrate that mathematically. It is not. It should not be a claim because it would be a false claim. If you ever claim that you are proving something as a universal, like, proof within the universe that is unquestionable, unchangeable, you're no longer talking about proof of something. You're talking about a truth, and you don't have access to that in the scientific realm. You don't have access to truth in the scientific realm. We can't, because to have access to that in the scientific realm, we would have to know all the things that we don't know, and that's not possible.
As you may have noticed, we've got a few more people who have joined the show, so just let me announce them, say who they are. We got Jedi, who was just talking. What's up, Jedi?
Yeah, good evening again, my friend. Good to be back.
Good to have you.
Good evening.
And Pebble in the Pond. What's up, Pebble?
Hey, right there. I'm doing good. On the road right now. Almost home.
Okay. Cool. Lemon. What's up, Lemon? Nope. No Lemon. SE Montreal.
What's good?
Yes, sir.
Oh wait, I looked at Rakeem's
But are
name
you
and I
already
said
announced
SE
it? Yeah.
Montreal.
But I'll take it twice, brother. I'll take it twice.
Yeah. All right. We got two there. Rakia Life. What's up, man? Let's hear them poker chips. No, not tonight. All right. And Yossi, who has been talking quite a bit, but he's in the house. Got quite the crew on. Go ahead. We can talk about something. Or someone wants... Oh, whoops.
Just messing with you. Yeah.
What's up, Stacy?
What up, babes? Nice to be here. Thank you for having me, Brandon.
No, thanks for coming. All right. I did have some things we could talk about. I want to show you guys something. And I'm wondering if this is the same one, but I want to see if somebody knows. I'll share my screen in just a minute here. If anybody knows this person who is doing this, it's a crowdfunding.
Can I point something out, guys? Yeah. I want to point out that this is a very good thing if they will just admit to us that science doesn't prove anything. That completely removes any sort of obligation they might have tried to hold against us to accept their ball model. They can't prove any of it. Science doesn't prove. So if they say it's scientifically proven, they've already debunked themselves because they admit that science can't prove anything. So it's a good thing if they'll just come right out and admit that their science cannot prove anything, and therefore anybody has the right at any time to just say, no, I don't believe you. I don't believe what you're saying, and science can't prove it, so I don't have an obligation to believe it.
Well, science excludes the possibilities, and it's excluded the possibility of, flat land covered by a dome created by God because they've excluded special creation of any sort. So by that, that counts for them as an indirect quote-unquote proof. So you're going to have to work with the globe or some sort of other materialistic answer?
Lemonberg, science never excluded creationism. It just doesn't deal with this question.
Doesn't it exclude it by not dealing with it?
I mean, it's okay. It's not that it deny its existence, okay. But if you want to say exclude in the sense of like not dealing with it, then yeah. I mean, but I'm just saying it's not that science doesn't say that God doesn't exist.
So science tries to exclude possibilities and rely on an indirect proof.
No, I mean it says so. It says that maybe the biblical God doesn't exist, but it doesn't say that a creator doesn't exist. Let me put it that way.
Right. But every time that me and Lemon and other people have spoken to people on other servers, right? I'm not going to admit you, don't give them any credit. We constantly hear that science is going to come up with that answer, that one singularity isn't God. You guys need to calm down, but science will eventually figure it out and tell you. So is science trying to find God? No, they're trying to find the answer away from God. That, yeah, science can provide it all. So for me, for you to say that, I don't agree because I don't see that.
Well,
I think he's making a claim about a different kind of science than we're talking about. He's making a claim about, I'm guessing here, the logical science. He's saying that it doesn't specifically mention a God not existing, which he's correct. Logical, real science doesn't do that. However, scientism, big S science, absolutely has shown repeatedly that it will not accept the idea of intelligent design and or creator in its realm of activity in the current day. They won't do it, and I challenge you to show me where they, as a large S science, are allowing it. I challenge you. Please prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Even more so, they go out of their way to hide the notion of intelligent design from us. They concoct an entire story just to hide it.
Well, that's like you are going into a conspiratorial realm, and that's fine. I can't relate to that, so I have nothing to say at this point. If that's where you're going, I really have nothing to say.
I have a question for you, Yossi, along these lines, but let me read these super chats first. A couple people have comments for us. Theory of Mind donated $3. Theory: Globers are experiencing Stockholm syndrome, mentally abused by continual deceit, fraud, etc., now defending the corrupt because of the bond over the years of trauma-based mind control hypnotism. Was interesting.
Oh, well said. They do have Stockholm syndrome. These goofy fucks. Sorry.
Any other thoughts on that?
Well, Stockholm syndrome occurs when you've been kidnapped or abused, and you start to identify with your abuser. We've been abused by, education saying you're not smart enough to think about this yourself in some ways, and that denigrate, free thinking and traumatize the person to the point where they're just a compliant sheep in some ways. Accept this information despite its contradictions and despite the alternatives that we're not telling you about, like ether or creationism, or the stuff that actually goes with the biblical narrative that is just suppressed and kept out of the narrative.
And I'm starting to think that we don't have them to blame. We only have ourselves to blame, because it isn't like we can't find out this information for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? The information is out there. It's just we're just like too busy on our day-to-day trying to survive to be able to seek truth. So they feed us this information, and we being trusting, we take it as truth. But that's our fault.
That's one of their games, is to keep us as busy as possible, keep us distracted with sports and video games and movies and all kinds of stuff, work. You don't have no time to.
I feel attacked. Don't be insulting my video games.
You know that they have no obligation to tell us the truth. Like, there is no law, there is nothing holding these people accountable for absolutely anything. So the fact that we're angry because they're telling us lies, they have no reason to tell us the truth. There is nothing that is going to hold them to task. So how can we expect any kind of truth from them?
Wait, how do we expect to have anybody laws? When we talk about laws, I mean, what are rights, to be honest? We don't have rights. I don't know the last time we've had rights or any control, honestly, in this world. And people are screaming it on the streets all the time, and they've been doing it since what time? We can go back to Martin Luther King, we can go further back, keep going back. We've not had the rights, people. It's all in our mind of freedom. We've never had freedom. We talk about, we're free and brave and all that. Brave? Most people are compliant. They sit down and they fall in line because that's what the educational system teaches them. When you go to school, you can't be the one out. If you're the one out, you're picked on and everything else. And they create that environment so that you don't stand up and stand strong in what you believe in. You don't ask questions because if you put your hand up, teacher says put your hand down. And this is the problem.
Well said,
Well
Stacey.
said.
Well said.
Like
Let me
the
read.
Chinese say,
Can
the
I say
nail
something
that
here?
stands out gets hammered in. Well said.
Yeah, you took
Yeah,
it
go
right
ahead,
out of my
Pebble.
mouth, SC Montreal.
Yeah, so this is
Right,
the words of subtle
ridicule.
infinity. They're not lying about the shape of the Earth. They're lying about your relationship to the Earth. So I think that's pretty well said.
I don't think those are mutually exclusive.
Because what we're taught is like, yeah, we're living on a globe. Nothing matters. We came from monkeys and etc.
Right, you're a
And
cosmic
then from the
coincidence
flat
and
Earth
vast
side,
infinite
it's that
nothing.
we have purpose. We're created. Everything here has a purpose.
I think that's the whole point of the lies. I think the whole point of the lies is to hide the nature of our reality. Because if we begin to piece together the nature of our true reality, then there is no lie they could tell us that we will accept. That's why it is the constant lie.
You literally just described what a lie is. Hide the true nature of reality. That's what a lie is for.
We can come back to this in a minute. Let me read these two last.
Right. They're hiding the deeper truth, right? How did reality get here? And then I've always lied about, let's call it religion, right? However you want to think about that deity, that necessary antecedent for its getting here, its reality. Yeah, they've given us a story, it's a ball that comes from another creation idea, the second choice of the ontological primitive, right? Nature, reality sprang into existence all by itself for no apparent reason, and here we are picking up rocks, asking why they fall, right? So they're hiding that deeper truth. People already have the answers to these deeper questions. We're on a ball, doesn't mean anything, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. When you understand...
Are you scared of that being true?
Obviously. Sorry?
Are you scared of that being true?
Of
that
what
nothing
being
means
true?
anything ultimately. Well, we're on a ball and nothing means anything ultimately.
It depends on what you mean by scared, I would think. Like, I would be distraught. I would be probably depressed. I would be extremely unhappy if we were to suddenly discover, which I'm confident won't happen, but if we were somehow to suddenly discover that we really were specks of dust in an infinite nothing, because what that suddenly does is it removes all purpose. We literally don't have any good reason to not go rape other people or murder other people or steal from other people. There is no good reason.
I feel like even on a flat Earth.
No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
Would you
Sorry,
do
Bob.
that though?
The problem, I mean, let's. Okay, I'm an atheist. No, okay, agnostic. Let's put it more like accurately. I'm agnostic. I don't know if there is a creation, like something that created this universe or no. But I don't feel depressed. I don't feel lost. I feel I have a purpose. So I'm in evidence that what you are saying is not correct.
Okay,
maybe,
but that's not really a very good
Hey
argument.
guys, we can come back to
person
this in a
who
minute.
Yeah.
Let me read these. Let me get through these.
Okay.
We
All
can
right.
come back to it in a
pick
minute.
up when you're done.
Yeah, it's obviously a very interesting discussion that Taking Back Eden brought up. Aaron Armstrong, I'm so glad FEs stick to YouTube and not involve themselves in actual life. P.S. Does Travis take a crust pill every second day? Sorry, a C-nut pill every second day. I don't know what that means.
What that is?
Thank you, Aaron Armstrong. Aaron Armstrong, science doesn't prove anything, neither do FEs. $5. Thank you, Aaron.
I'd like to say we don't need a sky daddy to have morality.
That's why we're so scientific.
That's true.
Hold
Hold on, guys. One more. Esteban Ilabaca, science doesn't care if there's a creator because it's unfalsifiable. Intelligent design can and has been explained by natural processes. Earth seen from space is proof of its shape, so are measurements. Thank you, Esteban. All right, well, I'm good now.
Okay, I want to point out that his argument doesn't hold up. The fact that he doesn't know whether or not there's a God and he doesn't feel depressed, that doesn't hold up, and here's why. The child who has never known a stable family or a family environment is not going to become depressed from lack of having a stable family or a family environment. However, it is easily seen in children who do have a stable home life and a good family, the difference between them and ones who do not. Okay, there's different things that you can watch happen or not happen in their lives for good or for bad, and it's very easy to detect the differences. But one has never had that, and so no, the lack of that isn't going to affect them. It can't, because they never had it to begin with. Of course it won't affect them.
I think that the only way you can support your claim is by study atheists and see how many of them are depressed, how many of them, like, that's the right way. You're making an analogy which I'm not sure is correct.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in.
Happy, sad, is subjective.
Hold on, Jimbo.
So.
Hold on. I would say that Yossi's comment to Bob's comment is valid, and Bob's response is invalid because, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, you said
You're wrong.
Okay, thanks. Bob, you said if you found out that there were no God, you would suffer depression.
Right, it was a personal thing. I was going to point that out. I pointed out how I would feel.
Okay,
yes.
Listen though. Okay, but that then makes your claim subjective, which is what Yossi. Okay, right. So now your response to correct Yossi is invalid because his response was based upon a subjective claim.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No. Listen. My thing was subjective. He took it as non-subjective. So I simply responded to his non-subjective response. That's it.
No, he said, I'm agnostic and I'm not depressed. I have purpose.
I understand
Can I chime in?
But that is not what his response. His response was an attempt to basically remove what I said subjectively. He was responding in a negative fashion as to dismiss what I said as not accurate.
Yeah,
he made that clear. I thought he made that very clear.
I disagree. You're
He's right. No, I can confirm what he said. Yes.
Okay,
right.
Bob, when you can,
so listen. I want to point out, he just said that I just accurately represented what he was doing, and so I was only responding in kind because of what he had said. I was not attempting to argue that the thing that I claimed originally would be the same for everybody. I do not claim that. So if anyone thought I did, I'm clarifying now. I do not claim that. I simply responded in kind because of the way he responded. That's it.
Okay.
Bob,
If I could, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Real quick, Bob, why do you think that you feel that way? Depressed and can you give us something real quick for us to be able to understand?
Yeah, this is what I want to angle on, right? The depression itself. You know what I mean? You guys are putting depression, feelings on necessarily a God, if there isn't a God or not a God. But there's a lot of people that don't even know about gods, right? They've never even been told about a book or religions. And there's people that have. And either way, they still suffer from depression. That is something you sense in your body. And to know if God's going to be affecting your life or not, even if you don't believe in him or whatever the God is or the universe, whatever, is also then begging the question, because how do you even know if God that we believe in isn't helping those people that don't believe too? Being there constantly helping their feelings and everything. We're literally putting God in a box right now when we talk about it like this. Like it's based on senses and feelings, and that's the only thing that God would be about. Purpose? Now that comes in many, many different forms. Your family, your kids, all those things.
As Ether Bandiness pointed out, my original statement was a subjective thing, absolutely. So if the question of if you're asking why I would apply that to everyone, I wasn't applying that to everyone. I was indicating what my reaction would be to that discovery. That's all I was saying was my reaction. I think, in my estimation of myself and how I would feel, that my reaction would be at least somewhat of a depression. There would be, I think, despair. Possibly, I think. I don't know if there would be fear or not, but I think there would probably be maybe some anger, but I am quite certain there would be some sort of depression that would be instilled in me.
You already said that, but what you haven't said is why you feel that would be the case, and why do you feel that's necessary?
I think I said it. I think maybe it wasn't, perhaps I didn't clarify well enough. The reason why is because my conclusion would then be, we lack purpose or a reason to do anything for any particular notion of good or evil. That's why.
Okay, but to finish with you,
So
Bob,
your
have you ever
reaction to-
considered that your purpose here is just experience? That's it.
If we
Does your
don't have
potential
a creator
reaction
or
influence your ability to accept the
creator,
truth
if
of
we
it?
don't have a higher authority to defer to as a standard, there would be no way for any of us to determine if that is our purpose. We could decide it was, we could guess that it was, we could conclude that it was if we wanted to, but we would have no way to clarify that position in any objective, definable way.
You don't have that now, actually.
Hold on. That's assuming the higher authority isn't us, right, Bob?
Yeah, you don't
That
have
would
that
defeat
authority now.
You can't have a
purpose
higher
of a higher
authority in
authority.
yourself. It's either you or the higher authority. You are whatever level you are.
Right. Okay, hold on real quick. So let me ask you a question. Do you believe the Bible is the authoritative word of God? Bob?
Are you asking me if
Bob,
I
it's a
think that it
question.
is?
Bob, just don't do this. Bob, do you believe the Bible is the authoritative word of God?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Why do you believe that?
Why do I believe that? Because
you were told.
I think
No,
that it is.
Ruhif, don't do that, please.
What did he say? What?
Don't worry about it. Don't lead the witness. Do not lead the witness,
Okay.
please.
Was it not important? I guess it's coming from Ruhif. I can probably just assume it wasn't important.
Yeah, I'm not.
Fuck you, motherfucker.
I don't want to make this any more complicated. It's just do it off the top of your head. I'm not asking.
Okay.
for
Okay. Well, say the question again.
I want to make it more complicated. Can I?
Okay.
Can I make it more complicated?
No, just wait. Just wait, Stacy, please.
I'm not
Okay.
Stacy.
Oh,
It's not me.
Apologize. Okay. My question was, why do you believe the Bible is the authoritative word of God?
Because when I read it, it claims to be the authoritative word of God, and whenever I act out the directions
great.
it provides,
Great.
it seems
Here we
to
go.
show itself to be true. That's
Great.
why.
Right, great. Who's the subject in your determining factor for the authoritative word of God?
I'm not sure what you mean by that question.
You are. You said I. When I read I. You.
Yes, when I read, I was talking about when I read it. Yes.
Right. Okay. You are the ultimate standard for whatever you believe. You don't believe the Bible because the Bible is imposing its authority upon you. You have determined for yourself that you. So now instead of me saying it, you're going to say, Bob, I believe. Well, who's making the decision? Yes. You are. Okay, so you are. Okay, listen very carefully. Both in the atheistic world and in your world, the I is the ultimate authority.
Okay, no, that's incorrect.
Does the Bible have to be? Does God have to be in the Bible for us to feel depressed if the Earth is a globe? And that's where I wanted to complicate things. If I may, please, sir. I agreed with him when he said that, but not because we had about lacking purpose being depressing if the Earth is a globe and we're just a speck of dust. Maybe not so much lacking purpose, but lacking continuation. That has really gotten to me before. Like imagining if we're just a floating speck of dust and when I die, everything I thought and felt is just gone. To me, that's the depressing thing.
What makes you think that even having a creator? Hold on, give me a second. What makes you guys think that believe this? That even if having a creator, right? What makes you think that it would be any better? What makes you think that he's not just an asshole? Like you know what I'm saying? Like what makes you guys think that just because something?
Because God has shown me Himself.
Hold on, I'm not done. What makes you think that just because something created us, right? He has our best interest and not his best interest.
His interest is our best interest.
And proved it is all.
Very closely. His interest is ours. Sorry, honey. Go ahead, babe. No, go ahead.
I was just asking, would it be in his best interest to destroy what he took so much to create? That doesn't even make sense.
If it's funny to him, I mean, it could just all be entertainment to him. How would you know that?
Okay,
I mean,
so
like
took
a
so much of him to
sociopathic
create.
person burning ants with a magnifying glass.
there's a problem with your question, Matrix. Okay,
Yeah, when you said it took so
and
much
I'm
for
not.
him to
This isn't to
create,
insult
what did
you
he
or
lose?
anything like that. But your question is the equivalent of, but what if there's giant kitty cats on Mars? Well, yeah. What if there is giant kitty cats on Mars? But there's nothing to indicate to us that there are giant kitty cats on Mars. There's nothing to indicate to me that the God that created me is a jerk.
Plus, we
The
have
same
Jesus'
reason.
son, which shows that God halfway likes us if he sent him to die for us. Rubik, you were saying?
Have you actually read the
Someone
Bible? Have you read it?
Someone said it took so much for him to create. What did he? What resources did he expend? What did he sacrifice? What did he use up?
His precious infinite time. He could have done something else with that time or whatever.
He's outside of time. He's outside of time. He created the universe. There is no time.
It's important to
outside the
understand that
universe.
all the people
On some
responding
level,
right
but he
now are
still
not
needs to commit
necessarily on the
action
same
through him,
page
so
on these
that does
items.
take some
Okay?
level of action and time-ish sort of stuff.
Time-ish sort of stuff. Thanks, Lenny.
Yeah. Even if
The
it
thing
takes
is,
like
even if
It's like people
Even if
can't
we
get
are-
past the idea that God is some sort of Superman with arms and legs and that he could just fly and walk on water. It's like you guys can't even get past
I don't know that anyone
concept.
here made that claim.
But when you guys
He's all
describe
powerful.
God, it almost comes out like that. Like if you guys are describing some sort
Wow.
of superhero. I mean,
I didn't describe God.
Even
okay,
if
so
we
can
are
you tell me
also-
what is God for you? What do you consider to be God?
I'll
Love.
answer it. I'll answer it if you let
Everything.
me. A father, a loving father that will teach you lessons so you grow, so you can develop the ability to love correctly, to be righteous with judgment in the things that you do, your moral standard and where that comes from. That's it.
A creator. A being you can have a relationship with, not a dead universe or a bunch of laws with nothing to relate to.
Thing is, even on a flat Earth, we could still be that speck of dust. What if the Creator made us, and then He made a trillion more Earths just like ours?
Would it matter? Because let me tell you, everybody here knows pretty much that I've been against this whole Bible thing. I really, really had pushed it out of my life until recently. Because God showed me who He was. And maybe people haven't been through that, and that's okay. You know, that's your journey. But let me tell you, when God shows Himself to you, this isn't no believing anymore. You don't question anymore. And you know it's a loving Father that has your back and pulls you out when you are begging in your soul for help. And if you're not begging for that help, you're not going to hear it. You're not going to sense it. You better start questioning what your life and what you're doing.
Okay, Stacy,
That's
thanks.
that's
Hold
all
on, real
good. But
quick.
you know what? I have three Bibles.
Matrix.
I don't. Okay, go ahead, Travis. Go ahead.
Thank you, Stacy. So I'm not trying to push your button at all. Okay.
I hear you.
My question for you is, how would you be able to describe to us your coming to the conclusion that it was God?
Oh, wow. There's actually someone here who can help with that. I went through a really, really, really abusive situation recently. I was screaming in my soul for help. And in this process, somehow I reached out, spiraling to a really good friend and mate. That person's in here right now, Jedi. Jedi, during this process when I had to go home for 3 days in a bus and I had no phone, was praying on his hands and knees to Jesus Christ for me. And let me tell you, I was begging for it too in my heart. I wasn't saying the name, but it was happening. God, please, because of things I was seeing and witnessing, and I was scared out of my damn mind. And let me tell you, God helped me. And God was showing me what's going on in this world and then how much truth was happening. And I didn't know that someone was on their knees begging for my safety this whole time.
Okay.
And when
great.
I got home and what I saw and what I witnessed and what I felt, and you mix that together and God shows you, you feel it, you know
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Okay. So listen very carefully. I am in no way challenging your experience. Okay. I'm not going to call. I'm not calling into question anything that you have experienced. My question still remains, because all you did was, in my opinion, simply describe your continuing experience through a particular stressful time, right? So my comment would be that my experience with God has been the exact opposite. That when I'm crying out to him the most, I don't sense him at all. Okay, so what am I left with in that situation? I'm still left with my experience. I'm still going through whatever stressful time or emotional time or whatever it is, and I make it through that time, right? And I can come out of that time having learned something. So for me, there was no God, but for you there was. My question still remains: how do you know it was God?
Well, it seems to be about interpretation. You know, whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Well, she just said how she knew, but it wasn't good enough as an answer. So I guess you guys.
Hold on, Lemon. Hold on. No, sir.
Like,
I don't think.
her
I
answer
think
is
Jarvis
not
meant
good
He
that.
didn't say that's not good enough. He didn't say that.
No. Well, I think it's more of an interpretation kind of thing. I mean, does it really matter if it's called God, Ezreal, or whatever? It's still the same force we're describing, right?
Yeah, listen. Okay, I'm going to address Lemon now. Lemon, somebody already said it, but I'm going to say it again. That's not what I said. I did not say
Please
it's
take
not
that
good enough.
Masonic crap out of here. God exists, and He gave us His Son Jesus on
Okay,
the cross.
Lemon, come on. He did not
I don't want
say
to
it
hear this
wasn't good
Masonic
enough. In
crap
fact, he
about
clarified
the Bible
that he
being a
absolutely was
literary
not
work of
saying
fiction. I don't want to hear that. I'm sorry.
basically, that he wasn't
Talk to
insulting
somebody
or
else.
taking
I
away
don't
from
want to
what
hear
you
it.
just described.
Lemon, we are having a discussion. We were not here to push one or other ideas.
You're not going to convince people that you're right by saying, "Get out of here with your crap. I'm right." That's it. Like, I mean, that's not going to convince people that you're right.
Bible was never a science book. Was never meant to be a science book.
Can I just say something
But
about?
it does have history and prophecy.
Was not written
So
by
it
scientists.
appears to be kind of literal too.
Listen, this has
Depends
completely,
what you mean by
this is
science.
completely sidelined. I still
That's
have
how the world was created. What's more scientific than that?
Go on mute, Lemon. Go on mute, please.
Getting off point.
Okay, just real quick. My question, I believe, unless somebody else from the panel, I'll ask Smurf Girl. Do you feel that my question is still open for Stacy to answer?
I already answered. We have history
question
and prophecy
is,
from the Bible.
We didn't ask you,
That's
Lemon Bird.
reliable.
Who gave your answer?
We didn't ask you, Lemon Bird.
Okay.
He didn't even ask
question.
me.
My question to Stacy simply was, out of her experience, how did she know that it was God?
Oh my God! Stacy just told you.
No, Lemon, she didn't say that.
A personal experience.
Can I say one more thing then on my behalf?
Can Stacy answer for Stacy?
Yeah,
please?
on behalf of me, real quickly, what I witnessed and what I went through was about looking into people's eyes. And I'm telling you what I sensed and what I was hearing. And all I kept hearing was, yeah, you sometimes hear your own voice, right? And you think, well, that's not God. Why do you think it's not God? Why are you expecting to hear God in a different manner?
Okay,
He
but
speaks
listen.
through you and through others, and people aren't listening.
Okay, so great. So my question then would be, does that mean that every time you speak, God is speaking?
No.
Then how do you
I don't
know
believe
when
so.
it is? Okay, so then how do
It's
you
a
know when it
feeling.
is and when
It's a
not?
feeling that comes over you, and also
Okay.
miracles that happen in your life out of nowhere when you ask for them.
Fair enough. Okay. My
Sorry,
questions are concluded. Thank you,
Sorry,
Stacey.
Lemon. I do apologise. I do apologise.
Can I
would
add
it be
something?
okay? Would it be okay if I elucidated on this? Because my name was mentioned on the man down on my knees, and if you want to talk about miracles, yeah, I've witnessed them firsthand. Because let's put it like this. I walk into a hopeless situation where somebody needs help and there is nothing I can do. The only thing that I can do is get down on my knees and beg and pray and ask for help in a situation that seems hopeless. Now, somehow, every single day, things happened and progressed the situation to a point that Stacy is no longer in that situation. Stacy is now much more Stacy than she has been for a very, very long time. I prayed and I begged for that. I don't need to go into specifics, but what I witnessed, a physical manifestation on a day-to-day process, could only have come from God. Things literally landing on my doorstep as other things are taking place and the way is being pointed to me directly. Now, if you want to talk about a direct experience with God, begging for help in a hopeless situation and that hopeless situation being resolved? Yeah. Because that can only come from a deep understanding and place of love. That's what this place is about, my friends. Love. When you beg and cry out in that for safety and security, and you get it, yeah. It's got God written all over it.
Amen.
Can I
Very
just say
interesting.
that?
Let me take this opportunity to just take a break here. Taking Back Eden FE donated $5. You know who else doesn't want you to believe the Bible? The Vatican. And we can all trust them, right? They hid the true Bible for 1,000+ years. Red flag. Taking Back Eden FE. Thank you very much. And then Aaron Armstrong threw in his 2 cents. Thank you, Aaron. $2 actually. Jesus is refracted.
Wow.
That's funny.
Can I give a really fast shout out?
Is that a hot take? This is I'm hearing.
Yeah, go ahead, Smurfer.
Would like to shout out Algorithm, and Algorithm would like to say hi to Stacy B. That's it.
Oh, that's my boy. Thank you, honey, and I love you too, babe.
Well, interesting stuff. Seems like everybody has a different opinion on it. And I told you guys last night, I've never really had an experience like that where I've felt that presence, although I have had amazing things happen to me. And I personally kind of think along the lines of, I don't know, maybe it was Matrix or Jeremy that was talking about how do we know that the earth was created for our purpose?
I would assume it wasn't.
Yeah, just knowing the way this world works, if the bigger whatever creation is anything like that, people do stuff. They build stuff for their own benefit somehow.
If we could picture if humans could make Earths, little Earth-sized things somehow, whatever, with little creatures running around on them.
We kind of can.
You know, would we do it?
Before we move too far away, can I point? I don't know if anyone heard me before or was paying attention before. I think it's important for us to recognize that each of the individuals here who was being asked questions and like answering as far as beliefs on a creator and things like that, we are not necessarily all in agreement on each of the things that the other one answered in those questions. In fact, there's things that have been said here that I know that I don't agree with. Even if I and another person here agree that there was a creator, we don't necessarily agree on the nature of that creator or what he's instructed us or how we experience that. So I think it's important for us to recognize that, like, if you ask me a question, like you'll see your Matrix ask me a question and I answer, Stacy is not necessarily going to agree with the answer that I gave just because we both believe there's a creator.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, my creator.
It's very complicated, and a lot of it is very personal. We all have different experiences and different thoughts.
Absolutely.
It's meant to be personal, and I'll say something about Stacy. One morning, I was called to get on a Discord that I don't get on, and she was in there. I think Righteous Force was the other guy, and she thinks that I affected her. What she doesn't realize is how much she affected me, and I think that's how the true God works, out of love and caring and just taking care of everything.
Makia, you're beautiful. Thank you, guys. I can't even tell you thank you.
I think you'll find God in personal relationships, right? The love that we express for each other, the care, the attention, the empathy, right? This is how we understand love, by witnessing situations that are just terrible, and all we want to do is show love and compassion and help. This is the way forward, guys.
Yep.
Right. The conversations that we have with people, they are the important things. The relationships we build, those are the important things. The way that we express our love for our environment, for the next person, our friend, our brother or sister, that's the way forward. You're only going to get anywhere with love. Not anger, not regret, not guilt, not revenge. Right? Deal with yourself. Get right with God. Get right with what you know to be right. But do everything you do with love.
It doesn't seem to be random now, does it?
No.
Absolutely not.
Because you can talk about timing, Things just happen. People like to throw it out the window and say it's just coincidence, but time and again and time and again, things manifest themselves in your physical reality like little arrows or lights pointing the way, right? Forward. Keep going forward. Seek and you will find truth, love, my friends. Come on. It's what it's about. Really, deep down, we are here. The next man, the next woman, the next child. Right? Come on, guys.
That's right. So beautifully said.
I think people sometimes struggle with the idea of God, what they talk about in the Bible, because they think they are good people. You know, oh, my mum's a good person, my dad's a good person, you know, my neighbour's a good person. But the Bible tells us that we aren't good. None of us. So if you look at it from the other point of view where there is something wrong and, you know, you have to teach your child to be good, to share, and, you know, it doesn't seem to come exactly naturally just to be good all the time, does it? So people are like, well, why doesn't God do this? Why doesn't God help me? Why doesn't, you know, and it's like, well, you know, maybe you need to think about what's wrong with you rather than what's wrong with God.
That's what I learned on the bus in my message. And when I came back, I said, you guys don't understand. You don't understand. The time is now. God is coming. And I could feel it. And let me tell you, what I said too was every single person that I met on that first bus that was 17 hours was damaged, crazy, all over me. Everybody was in sexual and the drugs and everything you could think of. I was scared out of my dang mind. Sexually almost abused. It was out of control. Hands on me almost in my crotch and would not leave me alone. Even men were being done this way by other men on this bus. But then all of a sudden, God showed up, and the rest of the time it was nothing but truth speaking, and amazing things happened. But I also noticed that every single person on that bus, everywhere, is damaged. We all are, right? We all have baggage, things in our closets we don't like. We're guilty of things. I'm not innocent. No one is innocent. We've done things wrong. We've done people wrong. We've lied. Why would they lie? Because we have lied. But it's about taking that accountability and responsibility. We do.
Yeah,
And God
before
showed
you
me,
take
oh, we do.
responsibility, do you deserve God to do anything for you? Like, before you've actually, you know, opened yourself up and said, yeah, I've done bad things and I don't want to do those bad things anymore. I'm going to, you know, really try not to be like that anymore. Until you do that, why should God do anything for you?
All right, can I jump in just real quick? So, again, I'm not challenging anybody's experience, but I think that I've said it enough, but maybe somebody doesn't know. I trained for the ministry, both in undergraduate and graduate. So I have a master's degree in biblical studies. I have turned a complete 180 degrees from my upbringing. And it was not the result of being disillusioned by God. It was not the result of not having God answer my prayers. It was not the result of any spiritual or emotional trauma, you know, where, oh, God, you know, took my child and now I don't believe him. That's not what my experience was. My experience in turning from my 40 years as a Christian was very, 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 very similar to what we have all experienced in our abandonment of pseudoscience for flat Earth, because the evidence that we came across was overwhelming for us to consider an alternative, and that's where I had to go, and I had to actually end up studying myself out of a job. So just to piggyback on what Paige said. So, you know, Paige, you made a reference to God and sin and the Bible. And my question for everybody who thinks along these lines is, what makes you think that book is written to, for, or about you, right? Because that is ultimately the reality that we're dealing with when we're talking about anything upon which we're basing our knowledge. If we're basing our knowledge of the physical world in some way, it has to be on an observation. If we're basing our belief about a book, what is the basis for that belief? It has to be the book, right? It has to be what that book said. Hold on, please. Hold on.
Go ahead.
It has to be, what I mean by that is, where's your justification for believing something about the Bible? Okay, if the Bible doesn't say it, then as a fundamentalist traditional Christian, I'm not going to believe it because the Bible doesn't say it. So that's what I'm trying to say. You have a justification for saying God is love. Why do you say that? Well, I can show you the Bible. But all of that to say, going back to what Paige said, Paige and everybody else, if you believe the Bible says something about you, my question is, how do you justify that a book written over 3,000 years ago is about you?
I don't.
It's a living book. It's a living book.
I was asking Paige.
Go ahead, Paige.
No, I wasn't saying I believe that. I'm saying people struggle with that. If you read what it says in the Bible, it says that people are they have evil in their heart.
Fair enough.
So I'm talking for the people who are actually
fair enough. All right, fair enough. But again, the question still remains though, for those people out there who read the Bible, they are assuming it's talking about them. And the same requirement that we place upon the physical world for evidence to establish what you believe, that person then bears the burden to justify that they think that a book written 3,000 years ago is about them. So anyway, sorry for
Well, if it's about real people, people don't change. I'm sorry that I, snapped at you earlier, but people don't change. So the same problems that they had back then in the Bible are the same problems.
Hold on real quick. He's talking to me just real quick, Lemon. So again, I don't want to completely hijack this, but the question is, you're making a claim that the Bible is about people in general. So that is your burden to prove, rather than it was written to a specific group of people called the sons of Jacob or Israel, or the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Okay, that's to whom the book was written. It was not written to Egyptians. It was not written to Australians. It was not written to the Chinese. So it is your burden to now extend the original audience from Israel to the Chinese, the Australians, and on and on and on and on and on. So my claim would be negative, that the Bible, let me say, my claim would be in the positive, that the Bible is exclusively, in all its declarations, talking to, for, and about one particular people group and their God.
That's a bad premise because that's predicated on groups of people being different.
It's a positive
If everybody
claim.
is fundamentally the
It's a positive
same,
claim.
then what's being talked about in the Bible would apply to us too if you're talking about real people with real experiences.
Okay. Can I expand on Travis' words? Just one little thing. I'm Jewish. I live in Israel, and I can tell you that Jewish Orthodox believe that the Bible only applies to them. So only the Jewish have to follow the rules that the Bible dictates. This is what the Jewish think. So I think it relates somehow to what Travis says.
But the Jews also reject Messiah. So there are some things that they get right in interpretation, some things that they get wrong in interpretation.
The Jewish reject Messiah?
They reject Jesus and wait for another Messiah. Which sect of Judaism are you? Messianic, Orthodox, Lubavitch?
I'm not
Talmudic. What sort of Jewish sect are you?
I'm more like a traditional Jewish. I'm not religious. Okay, so, but I'm considering myself a Jewish because, my mother is Jewish. So this is why I say I'm Jewish, but it's not it's not coming from a religious context.
So Yossi,
Can we
that's
remember
interesting
three
that you say that.
things?
Would you say that being Jewish is more of an ethnicity than a religion for you?
For me, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Go ahead, Stacy, and then I've got to catch up on the
and
super
that's
chat.
fine, honey. And I'll make it quick. If we're going to go down the book avenue, and that's fine, but remember, who is it written by, right? It's written by man, inspired probably by God. But also that book, if you're going to believe it and look into it, says the word of God lies where? In heaven. So setting to trust man who has also written this Bible, who has manipulated everything in life, and to not question if that Bible hasn't been manipulated would be pretty stupid for me. However, God will show you through experiences. God will show you through you and other people. He doesn't need to lie in a book, okay? It's written in us, not in that book.
All right, you guys can respond to that in just a minute. Let me just read this. Sorry. Leapin4J A799. What is A? Australia? Anyway, people are entitled to their beliefs even though there is no scientific evidence. I definitely agree people are entitled to their beliefs. Thank you very much. And then Smurf Cadet,
yeah,
$2.
I would hope that nobody here is making the claim that scientific evidence is somehow the ultimate pinnacle of everything and that we always have to defer to that in everything that we do. That's not the purpose of science, or it shouldn't be the purpose of science anyway. The purpose of science should just be, if you want to convince someone else of a thing that you think is true, then you use science. That way it's objective and you can just show them that the thing is so. If you're talking about anything other than that, then why are you even bringing science into it?
Yeah, right. Okay. Smurf Cadet, $2. God is apparent in people who feel empathy. Makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you, Smurf Cadet.
Mm-hmm.
And then taking back Eden FE. Actually, that's one of the things that always blows my mind is how can people not have empathy? How is that possible? And I know there's people out there. There is even people who admit they have no empathy, right? I just can't wrap my head around what that would be like not to have any empathy.
By the way, this is the clinical definition of a psychopath. Just to let you know.
Yes, absolutely. That's why I was nodding in agreement. Yeah, that's a psychopath.
I would like to further clarify my point. We can't scientifically prove that pain is something that you feel. We can't show that. We can't show that you feel pain. We can only detect that we feel, like I feel pain. I know that. And I can believe someone else when they say they feel pain. I have no way to determine that someone else has ever felt pain. Okay? And on top of that, we cannot definitively, objectively prove that pain is a negative thing in any way. Ever. For any reason. So there has to be an acceptance. If you're going to be a logical, intelligent, reasonable person, there has to be an acceptance that science is not the ultimate standard for everything that we do in our lives or everything that we attempt to discuss in our lives. It can't be. Otherwise, we have nowhere to go.
Well, Bob,
we have to rule out all experience.
There are scientific studies which tries to correlate MRI's activities in the brain with feelings. Now, I'm not trying to negate what you said. I'm just trying to give a little bit of context. Okay, so that's it. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, they attempt.
Brandon, are you done with the
Okay.
super chats?
One more, guys. One more. Taking back.
I'm next. I'm next.
$5. Galatians 3:28. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. For ye are all one in Christ Jesus. Thank you, Taking Back Eden FE. Appreciate that very much. I'm done.
All right, it's time for me to filibuster so Jeremy doesn't get to talk. Okay, I need to tell you guys I have a thesis about Star Trek, and
let me respond to what Stacy said. I totally agree with what Stacy said. To think the Bible hasn't been edited would just be silly. And also another thing is there's a lot of evidence for a creator. You know, I advise everyone to go look at Quantum Eraser's videos on the evidence for a creator. There's a lot of evidence for a creator, so that's all.
It's the man aspect to it, right? Again, agree with what Stacey said. It's a book. It's obviously been manipulated. There's loads of translations and reiterations, right? Which Bible are we ever talking about, right? Which translation? What, the original one? Which original one? Which original one have you got? How are you translating those words? Like, you don't understand the language back then. Like, people study it and say that they do. I don't. To trust empirically or without question the writings in a book about a deity based on man's what? thoughts, feelings, traditions. Maybe, I don't know, that could happen. But ultimately, it's personal for me. That relationship down on my knees. It's more personal than a book.
Doesn't it even say in the Bible to question everything?
Yes.
It does. It says to figure this stuff out for yourself. Don't just believe other people because they might be wrong. Make sure you're figuring it out. But that's the way people should be treating everything in their lives, whether it's religion or not, whether it's the Bible, whether it's a scientific book, whether it's anything that comes along to you. If you accept it simply because somebody else says it, there's a problem with you and the way you're using your brain or refusing to use your brain. That's a problem. You should be verifying things for yourself if you want to have the best position for yourself on those things. We still, I think, should allow for people to trust others if they so choose. They just don't then have the right to expect someone else to take their word for it because they trust that person. So if people that believe in the globe, if they want to take Neil deGrasse Tyson's word for it, they absolutely can. They have the right to trust Neil deGrasse Tyson. They can go for it, okay? That's on them. What they don't have the right to do is then expect from somebody else the same dedication to accepting what Neil deGrasse Tyson says as accurate.
That's how we got into this position in the first place, by just trusting what other men say.
Or you can go out and do your own experiment and actually do some data,
Do some data.
Yeah, you can actually get some data.
That's our next T-shirt.
Do some data.
Do some data. There we go.
Do
I
some
got
data.
this
There you go.
Teespring
I like
worked
it.
up right now. I'm firing it up.
I want the royalties.
All right, fair enough.
May I correct myself about something?
Yeah,
I said that I said that psychopaths are people that do not feel empathy. So autism, people which has autism also don't feel empathy. Some of them, and they're not classified as psychopaths. So,
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. Yeah, good
so
point.
I'm sorry if anyone maybe in the audience.
Yeah, my son has
I'm sorry.
Asperger's, and that's just not true. Like,
Yeah.
it can be so severe that
Is it?
They have trouble feeling anything.
Is it
Not
actually
just-
determinable that they don't feel it rather than they don't express it the same way we do? Because I'm not
Right.
convinced that people that are
Yeah, that's
autistic
what I
don't
would go
feel
with.
those things. I could be
Yeah.
convinced that they maybe don't express them the same way we do.
Because I know my son does. Like,
Yeah,
he's 20.
same
I
with my
know he
son.
does.
He's 18, and he wouldn't be able to express empathy toward a person. If he hurts your feelings really bad, you could be crying. He would have a blank face, but he can't stand to see a homeless person and not give them something. He can't stand to see an animal being hurt. So I know it's in there.
Yeah, that's
he
empathy.
Just
Yeah.
can't show you.
Express it.
So what do you think the
and
difference
it would
is
be a
then
matter
between?
of what triggers the empathy in you. That's personal again. There are things that when somebody else, like there are situations where I can see someone else crying, they are indicating to me that they are hurt, and I don't. It doesn't strike anything in me. But in other cases, I have that empathy. I can empathize, or I can put myself in a position where I'm feeling how I think they're feeling, and I can get that. So it's also going to be personal on which things are going to activate that part of you and which things aren't. That's not necessarily going to be the same for everyone.
So what do you think the difference is?
Can I give my experience? I've been through a lot in my life, and I mean a lot. And I've told my stories over and over, and I don't have a problem telling them. 5 years old, I was molested. 19, I was raped and lost my virginity. I've gone through being homeless. I've gone through so many things that I can't express to you. But if you don't go through these hard things, these struggles, I've lost my brother to brain cancer. My mom just lost her memory. I've lost 2 children. I understand. I have empathy. Every time somebody talks to me, they tell me they just lost someone. Which is just recently on the phone with Jedi. A guy came up to me and said he lost his wife on Thursday. And I was instantly bawling before he was. because I could put myself in their shoes because I have been through the struggle. That's what it takes experience on this earth. Those traumatic things actually make you stronger and make you see God even more. And we think that it's a bad thing, but in reality, it's our journey. And I was part of your journey, and therefore it keeps going on and on.
So what do you think is the difference then? You know, we're talking about people feeling empathy. And you say psychopaths don't feel empathy, sociopaths. But also people with autism or something like that don't feel empathy, but we wouldn't classify them as similar in any way. I wouldn't think of somebody with autism as a psychopath. So what's the difference?
It would be how they execute on those things, or the lack of those things, right? Wouldn't it be how they execute those?
Wouldn't show that toward anything in any situation.
They would act like they had those feelings. Yeah, they manipulate.
Yeah, but see, the crazy thing about psychopaths is they fucking know how to manipulate the situation. They can navigate, anticipate, respond, react, plan, orchestrate their entire story based on. So the crazy thing about psychopaths, in my opinion, is that they don't give a shit whether it's a worm or a baby or a 14-year-old or whatever. Okay, so there is this weird thing that we're talking about, right? Like we can't, like when I talk to my mom about the psychopathy of them, right? The powers that be. She's like, well, I would never do that. I'm like, great, you're not a psychopath, right? Okay, so it's like I don't know how to relate to psychopaths because I actually do care about people. So I think Brandon's question is like not necessarily like what's the difference in a particular way, but in a general way, like what makes me, why am I not a psychopath? Hold on. That question I think is practically impossible to answer, right? Why do I like strawberry ice cream and you like pistachio? I mean, but ultimately there is a way, there is an aspect in which there's a disconnect in empathy in a psychopath, but there's not a disconnect in his ability or her ability to control and respond and plan in a way that just is psychopathic. Do you understand what I'm saying by that? I mean, it's like on the one hand, there's a deficiency, right? They can't empathize, but on the other hand, these guys are smart as fuck.
Very, 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 very smart, by the way.
Yeah.
I thought his question was more asking what separates one with like the autistic tendency from the person that we label as a psychopath. Why is one labeled psychopath and the other wasn't? I thought that's what Brandon was asking.
That was kind of the question, yeah. And you know, I think it comes down to Travis kind of hit it on the sense that psychopaths understand what people are feeling. They understand the emotions. I think with the autistic or maybe some other Asperger's,
don't understand. Yeah,
they don't understand it, and the psychopaths use that information to manipulate and get what they want.
Yes, there it is. Manipulate. Exactly.
Let me try and make a picture for you guys, because this is the way I was thinking about it, and I think this might describe it pretty well. Imagine yourself in a room, okay, and you're just standing in the middle of the room, okay, and there's maybe 3 other people in the room. Now, these 3 other people, they can be whoever you want. But they're people that you have a connection with. So imagine a line, a string or whatever, going from you to each one of these people, one string, okay? The normal person is able to wiggle that string, and that represents you, your emotional attachment to them, and how you use that emotional attachment, okay, is wiggling that string. Now, the psychopath, or we'll go with the autistic person next, okay? They're in the middle of the room. I would be convinced that they still have that string, the string that attaches them to the other people in the room. They don't know how to wiggle it the same way normal people do. They either grab it and they yank on it and they go crazy, or they don't do it enough. Okay, that represents them not being able to properly or express themselves the same way we do. That would be the autistic person. Okay, and the psychopath to me would be the person standing in the room. He has no strings to any of the other people, but he knows how to reach out and mess with the other people's strings that attach them to the other people in the room.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
are
goodness,
spot
this is
on.
my life right now.
Well, it is because they reach out and manipulate everybody. They try
Exactly.
to weasel their
They
way
see
into
the other people's
situations where
strings
they
and they
have
know
the
how to touch
ability to, yeah, they have the ability to manipulate, lie, believe my lie, trust me. This person is this person is that. Next person you go along, same story, different story, doesn't matter.
But you'll never
You're spot on with
be able to wiggle a string. The string never attaches to the psychopath in the room. You can't ever wiggle that string. It's not there. It doesn't exist.
I disagree. I disagree because I've dealt with one, and I'm not going to go into anything too traumatic because we don't want to go into it.
Well,
but
maybe I
they
need to-
manipulate
maybe I need to
that.
change
They
up my-
use you,
my
and they
idea.
have feelings too. They actually have feelings too, but they don't care about yours.
Well, maybe
it's all
maybe they
about
keep their
them.
string very wrapped up tight and a good hold on it, so that it's harder to wiggle it. Then.
There you go. And you can't figure them out because it's an analyzing. They constantly analyze every single thing that you do, they do, and they're actually confusing themselves, but they're smart. Very, very smart. They can mind control you in a second, and they actually are very, very dangerous. I mean, to the point that they will make you bend at their will. And it's not a good place to be in. Because then they have control of your mind and they think they have won you. And as soon as you get away, they freak out and they keep coming after you. And they won't stop because they've lost something that is theirs. And they're not going to let go of that because they didn't win. And they have to win because they're psychotic. This is the point. When you deal with a psycho person, you can't wrap your mind around it because you're not that. It's crazy. I can't explain why it happens, but I've been through it. I'm going through it, and I'm trying to get out of it, and God is going to keep me safe.
Interesting. Anybody else have any thoughts on that before we move on to another subject? That's really interesting. Good subject. Smurf cadet. No,
I was
George.
just saying that you really can't wrap your head around their actions, and a lot of the time they aren't as smart as they seem. They have tactics. They do things that make themselves appear smarter. Usually, it's by getting to know, a detail about something, and that no one else around them knows as much about. But as soon as someone who knows more comes in, they'll want to stop talking about that. It's things like that.
Interesting.
Very true.
What was I gonna say? Shit. Oh, George. How's it going tonight? No, not able to talk. All right. Well, chime up if you are able to talk. I know that you possibly had an idea that you wanted to pass by us, so we can talk about that if you want. But I think I'm still sharing my screen. I wanted to show this to you guys. Crowdfunding to send a flat earther into space. Some guy named, hold on, his name's in here somewhere. I know, I found his name though.
Oh, all right. You better be a high-ranked flat earther.
Shoot, now I lost it. Did I get the wrong one? This looks like the other one that we looked at, doesn't it? But I found a different one that had his name in it. I'd never heard of it. It was some Scott or something. I'll have to find it. Sorry, false alarm. Oh, here it is. Mark Gold. Mark Gold.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
Has anybody heard of a Mark Gold?
This could all be just a scam to get money, or maybe they are going to send a guy up who's not a real flat earther and have him come back and be like, oh, yeah, it was round. I saw it.
Yeah.
Is this the Flat Earth Society playing games, or?
I don't know, but this was picked up even more. I looked just today and it was like within the last week. This thing is just getting more and more amplified, picked up more and more places. Evidently, he's got a GoFundMe. As of the time of this article, it was only at 70 pounds. So this guy's never going to raise 250,000. So it kind of confirms what we said before, that this is just bullshit clickbait to ridicule flat earthers as usual. But I just thought maybe somebody knew this guy. Now he's up to 160. So all those articles that he was in, and he only managed to raise 160 pounds.
Me and Chemo were in Gems the other day talking, and they were talking about, oh, there's spots open for people can win a raffle to go to space or some shit. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, if those people came back and said, yeah, it's a sphere, because they were going to actually do orbits and shit on this one. I'm like, if those people came back, how would we even know that they're telling the truth? And let's say they did send you up. Let's say they sent you up, Brandon, and you go up there, and you go up, you do some orbits, and it looks, I don't know how you would tell you if you were circling over a flat Earth or doing orbits, but nonetheless, how do you know you're not looking at a screen? You're looking through a window. What's on the other side of that window? Are you looking at what's outside or what's on a screen?
Yeah, they're not going to let you step outside and check the air, check the weather.
Yeah, how do you know you're not just looking at a screen that's in the place where you think the window is? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't have to almost see it without the window in front of you. You know, because it could be easy. The glass is probably going to be multi-paned, right? They could put a screen on the outside. How would you tell the difference? Do you think if they had a screen good enough?
They have airplanes with that.
Think about this though.
Have light that's different on the window so you can sleep.
If the globe model is correct, you wouldn't feel weight, right?
Well, that's good. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Here's the thing. If they're going to take the time to quote unquote send you up, at any point between start of them telling you that you're going to go all the way to the point where you're in, the rocket, if at any point they tell you, we need to give you this so you can withstand the G-forces so you don't get sick, or this is going to help you whenever you get up there and the weightlessness, any point that they decide to give you a shot or tell you to take a pill, or you'll have no idea if they're giving you something that's going to put you in a state of mind to make you think that you are going up into space.
I mean, do they not have ways to simulate zero gravity? I mean, who knows what kind of technology they got? So I don't think it's far-fetched that they could literally fool someone into thinking they've been in space visually,
Yeah, you're not going to get to spacewalk when you go on this thing. You're just going to be looking out that little tiny window. You can see what the thing looks like. But here's the inspiration for, I don't know if you guys have heard of this. This is supposed to be the all civilian mission to space. They're going to pick a crew in 16 days. So I'm kind of advertising for SpaceX here on accident, but this marketing is really slick website. They've got it all tied up with St. Jude's and this Shift for Shop, which I'm not exactly.
That's the one me and Chemo were talking about in Gems the other day. Yeah, the St. Jude's one.
Yeah, and they're going to give away 2 seats. They've got a Super Bowl ad. And then I thought this was funny that this is in here. I'm like, yeah, okay. We could argue about whether that's going down or up. But nice patch. I mean, really slick graphics, slick website, really responsive, really nice work they put into this, obviously. But this guy, Jared Isaacman, a 37-year-old founder and CEO of Shift 4 Payments. So he's like sponsoring this thing and an accomplished pilot. He's the one footing the bill, I guess, for this. Co-sponsoring it with SpaceX. So you'd be sitting in here. You'd be sitting in here the whole time, and you just look out that little window right there.
That's the natural progression to do is just to go ahead and send what looks on the outside and as advertised as average civilians going up, and then in actuality it'll be people who are on the inside and are in on it, and then they'll just come back and say, "Oh yeah, we're just average civilians."
Even if
we
it
saw
was
for
civilians,
sure. It's definitely
that's another thing. How do we know they're not?
Pebbles.
Why would we listen? Why would we agree to go to Narnia when they have no scientific evidence that Narnia exists. Why would we allow them to ignore the fact that they have no demonstrable curvature that they can empirically prove? Prove that, and then let's talk about space.
Ether Bandinus
I don't know how you would
jealous
even.
that I got into Hogwarts and he didn't.
I don't know how you would even differentiate between orbiting around a spherical Earth and just doing circles above a flat plane.
1 mile of water, 8 inches.
Even if it was civilians, like once they get on whatever that contraption is that they're going to supposedly send them up in, it's not like they're going to be playing by their own rules anymore. They're the civilian. They're going to be told to sit, and they're going to sit, or they're going to get kicked off. They're going to be told to stay buckled, and they're going to stay buckled, or they're going to be in real big trouble. Probably threat of terrible things happening if they don't follow the rules to the T. Like, it's not like they're going to just let the civilians unbuckle, move around, inspect all the little devices and the windows and all that. Of course not.
Yeah, and with this technology, it'd be child's play to make people believe, oh yeah, I definitely went, and it's absolutely spherical. It would be super easy.
Bob would be up there and hit the self-destruct button.
Guys, if you can send humans there, you can show 8 inches over 1 mile.
Guys, if two people look on a window from different angle and see different image, then it can't be a computer screen, right?
That's not accurate at all.
Your stance is it's impossible to be fake. That's your stance.
That would be
No.
How was the computer screen? Maybe
that's not what I said. Sorry, what did you say, Bob?
If the window itself was the screen, then maybe what you said would be like an argument that we could discuss, like realistically. But all they would have to do is screen outside of the window, and don't let you get up from your seat. And now people from in different seats will see what they should see out a window, and you don't get to inspect any further because you're told to stay buckled in your seat. You can't get out.
Yeah, you don't want Bob floating around hitting self-destruct buttons.
Well, if that is the case, then you would be right. But maybe they will allow you. I don't know. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to bring ideas.
But they even have holograms that, if you look out from different directions, you see different things. So they do have the technology to be able to show you something that looks different depending on where you're looking at it from.
Oh yeah, that'd be real easy.
Well, they do have that.
Think about
Disney's
Microsoft.
had
They have their
for decades that make you think you're in space or shrinking or growing. It's nothing hard to produce.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways that they could convince people that they went up into space and came back down. And Yossi, it's not a matter of us saying this is what they're gonna do. It's just a matter of there's so many things that they could do to convince somebody. If it was civilians that were going, to convince those civilians, especially if those civilians have not looked into any of the things about the ball Earth or the flat Earth, or are generally concerned with those discussions, especially if they aren't concerned with those discussions, it would be easy to trick them into thinking that they went up and then came back down, because they're not looking for all the things that a learned person is looking for. David Weiss made a really good point on one of his podcasts that he was doing, that if you're sitting like in the living room, I don't remember the exact words, but basically imagine you're sitting in the living room and you hear a noise in the kitchen, okay? A child who hears that noise, in their mind, it's basically they heard a noise, and that's it, end of story. An adult with years and years of experience of things that can happen in a house and what that noise could mean, when they hear the noise, they start running through their head of the possibilities of what's making that noise. What made that thing happen? Why did I hear that noise? What was the noise? What caused it? Okay?
I hate it when that happens when I'm asleep.
So when somebody is not even concerned with these discussions, they're like the child. Okay? When they see the things in the alleged space shuttle that are going on, things that are taking place, they're not running through their head all the possibilities of what it could be. They are accepting that this thing happened because they were told this thing happened, or they watched the thing happen and they don't question it.
With it.
They don't have the experience to know all the different things that it could be instead of what they're told it is.
Okay.
I mean, last time they tried to send a civilian, non-elite person into space was the Challenger? Or am I wrong?
The teacher. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
you
she.
could be
Well,
right.
But was
I'm
there
not
anyone
sure.
after that that wasn't like an elite
didn't
rich
they have
person?
something just recently? Yeah, with a civilian.
What do you mean by saying elite? I really don't know.
Rich.
Somebody with millions and
Rich.
billions.
Okay.
In that circle, you know, the
Yeah.
ones that are allowed inside that inner circle.
Okay.
Like I said, it wouldn't be hard to even buy someone off or just send your own people up, or like Pebble said, how do we know they're not even cousins or relatives of the people that are
You just get one of
perpetrating
your
this?
Freemason buddies, don't you? You just get the 32nd degree guy to go so that he can prove himself, for the honor of being given the 30.
This is my take on this. I'm not denying that it is. I mean, it's possible to fake it. Like, I'm not going to deny that. I'm not sure, but probably it can be done. I mean, it can be done. But I think that if I were a flat earther, I would give it a shot if I had the money.
That was their argument for the moon landing. They said the moon landing, we didn't have the technology to fake it. Which I don't know how absurd that sounds to you guys, but
it would cost.
That is absurd as saying
No, it's 100% correct.
On a
100%
flat
correct.
Earth, on a flat Earth, this would happen.
100% correct. Sorry, we could not fake it.
What Yossi said, though, guys.
We did not have the computer technology to fake it.
No, I actually said that it is possible to fake this.
Not
I know.
They were actually
what you said was, if you were a flat earther, then you had the money, that you would try. Okay, and I can understand why you would say that, because to someone who doesn't think the Earth is flat, like, that just seems like reasonable. You have an opportunity to go up and confirm, right? The problem is that if the Earth isn't a ball, and flat earthers are starting from the position that the Earth isn't a ball, we are also necessarily starting from the position that NASA isn't what they claim to be, and our government isn't always doing what they claim to be doing, which means we're starting from the position that we can't trust NASA or the government, which means we could decide, we're going to spend our money that we have to go up and just see for sure. And then that's the one that they decide is going to be the one that they lose over, the course of 5 or 10 years. That's the one that blew up. Okay. See, we can't trust them to keep us safe.
I can understand your approach, if like from your worldview. I can understand that. Yeah.
I mean, if you can't trust the United States government, who can you trust?
Exactly. And I would argue that if a flat earther has the funds to fund something like that, it would be more likely that they would want to get them on that ship to kill them, because they would have way more opportunity to attempt to show that the Earth is flat if they have a whole lot of money that they can spend.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, how about we
you really need to see a shrink though.
How about we let Yossi dance a little bit? Yossi, if you could have a discussion with a flat earther and present your best evidence, not secondary or tertiary or photos from space, right? This is all things that you have established for yourself. What would be your most your strongest point that you personally would present to someone that you believe the Earth is the way it's been presented to us?
So before I answer, I will answer. I just want to say I'm not here to argue. I had enough of that in the past, so don't try to drag me into like argument or anything like that.
Sure.
I'm just going to answer, and then.
Okay. Well, hold on. Okay. Take that. I take that at face value. So my response to that would be, I'm not going to argue with you, but I may have a follow-up question to something that you claim. Is that okay?
Yeah, but if it goes too long, I may.
That's fine. Fair enough.
Okay, so for me, the fact that we see a defined horizon line, a contrasted horizon line, it tells me that Earth cannot be flat, and the fact that we see. Hold
on. Yeah. Hold on. Go ahead.
And the fact that we see it everywhere tells me that only a sphere can explain that.
Okay, great.
On top of that, sunsets and sunrise.
Okay.
Now I'm not. Wait. I'm not a
All right.
scientist. I'm not arguing
Neither
from
am I.
science. I'm not arguing from science.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. So I don't know if you know anything about me, but that's my question, or your response actually is primary for me to engage with. But have you, in regards to the comment that you made about the horizon, have you considered any other alternative to the horizon being created by the Earth's curve?
Well, of course. I mean, I've been listening to flat earthers for 3 years, and I thought about it, and it doesn't make. I mean, I heard multiple explanations, and it doesn't fit my daily experience.
All right. So I'm going to take it for granted that you don't know anything about my channel and haven't heard me make my claims.
I actually did. I think Etherband. Yeah, I think I heard about it.
Okay. So my channel is The Plain Truth, but what would be an alternative explanation that you have heard from Flat Earth that is an alternative explanation for the alleged curvature of the Earth being the cause for the horizon?
Well, many flat earthers claim, not all of them, I'm not saying that everyone does that, but claim that it's a result of perspective. I heard people saying that light bent downward. I had like RANTY talks about refraction, actually doing different things than what we think. I heard some stuff.
Okay.
The eyeball, is like a vanishing line. The eyeball is looking in an arc. Like I don't remember in detail.
Hold on real quick. I want to finish up, please. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Yossi. Okay. I wasn't talking to you about that. I didn't want anybody else to interrupt. Okay. So again, those responses that you just gave are not arguments or claims that I make based on the observations that I have. So let me just give you a quick consideration, and we don't have to carry this any further, and someone else can pick up, or we can change topics. So
okay.
I would like to offer an alternative explanation for you to consider for your explanation that the horizon is caused by the alleged curvature of the Earth. Okay. So my alternative suggestion, hypothesis, claim, my alternative claim is that the alleged the alternative explanation for the alleged curvature of the Earth being the cause for the horizon is that it is always, only, and ever will be due to the conditions of the medium through which the observation is being made. In other words, it is the conditions of the air through which you are looking into the distance over aquatic distance, and make that specific because we're not talking about looking over and seeing mountain ranges that are higher than our field of view. So when we're looking over aquatic distance, the horizon is always created by the conditions of the medium through which you are looking. So that, in a nutshell, is my alternative explanation that I don't think has been falsified.
See the same happening on land.
Has it been proven either? Has it been proven?
Let me ask. Hold on.
Wait. Guys, Travis was talking to me, so please just let me ask him something. Sorry. Can you explain how, like, the mechanics behind this hypothesis? Like,
sure.
Or are you just saying, I just do some correlation and the correlation, you understand my question? Is it just you correlate observations and try and then make a deduction, or are you actually able to describe the mechanism which causes it?
Right. That is a yes and a no answer. The yes is that the observations are very easily explained. The no is that in order for that data to be acquired, there would need to be an immense amount of research done by more than 5 people with equipment, including boats, drones, thermistors, anything that we would need to test all of the conditions of the atmosphere. Excuse me, what the smurf did I just say? The ether band. But yeah, so when I first started making my observations, I did not know what I was going to see. So I would be able to claim very strongly that I had no bias. I was going out to take photographs and see what I saw. So I had to start analyzing and interpreting. So the thing for me that showed me that the alternative explanation to Earth curve was the conditions of the medium through which we were looking was that I was making observations from a single point of view. I would set up in the exact same spot every single time. And every single time the horizon would be in a different location. It would be closer. Hold on. It would be closer to me. It would be farther away. It might be higher up. I even have video and time lapse of the horizon rising up. Falling. I'm sorry, both falling down and rising up. But the falling down would require that my extended lens be lifting up. You know, so if you're going to say, oh, that's the camera's doing that. Oh, really? You know what direction the camera would have to be going in order for the horizon to do what it's doing right now. So if you want the short and sweet, the short and sweet is, yes, I have hundreds of hours logged, hundreds of videos available for you to look at that are evidence. If you want scientific evidence, that's going to take a whole nother matter.
Well, let me just ask real quick. He said the horizon, the fact that there is a horizon was his first answer. What would there not be a horizon on a flat Earth?
Are you asking me?
I mean, yeah, you said the fact that there's a horizon, like,
No,
that wouldn't happen.
I said the fact that there is a defined horizon, not just an horizon. The fact that
sure, why wouldn't it be defined on a flat Earth?
Well, I would expect if the Earth was flat, and practically it means that the land and the skies are going to infinity. I mean, it's not really infinity. There is an edge, right? But from my viewpoint, it's like it's going to infinity. And I would expect that if two planes, one at the top and one at the bottom, are going to infinity, then they will blend into each other. I wouldn't expect to see a defined horizon.
Well, you're expecting
to
to
have a
see.
limit to your sight.
You're expecting to
So
see
when it
to
reaches
infinity.
that limit, it stops.
You're expecting to see to infinity on a flat Earth.
That's not what I said. I said that what I would visually see is it's like the skies and the sea. It's like they would blend. Now I can't prove it. I can't mimic. I can't create a flat Earth and then test it, right? I mean, you got to use imagination. You have no other choice, right? And this is what I think. This is what makes sense to me.
All right. I mean, that doesn't really make sense to me, but all right.
Okay, that's fine.
Let me read a couple super chats here. Aaron Armstrong, $2. FE's experts on things they know nothing about. We're experts on a lot of stuff, Aaron. Come on now.
Yeah, keep those super chats coming.
Yeah, C4.
Right? Cool stories, though.
We don't care about your appeals to authority, dude.
Jeremy definitely shouldn't be the one going to space if he can't tell if he's orbiting a sphere or doing circles over a flat plane. Facepalm, facepalm.
You'd think they'd spend their money to actually send in their good proofs and evidences and stuff, not just their feelings and
They disparage
complaints.
Jeremy in that way, but they think are robots on Mars. Okay.
If we go up and the horizon appears to drop beneath us as we go up on a flat Earth, and then maybe the horizon even appears to curve on a flat Earth. So if you're up there doing circles up above, I don't know. Unless you went north south, I don't know how you would be able to differentiate.
No, I get you. There was something, I think it was Sin Cleanser posted. Let me see if I can find it real quick. A couple of
If
images.
they showed you Antarctica, if you went up and they said, "Oh, look, there's the continent of Antarctica at the bottom of the sphere," if you were actually seeing that, that's a good way to differentiate. I mean, other than that, I don't really know.
Yeah. Well, especially you only get to look out those two little windows too. So I don't know. You'd have to trust them. Look at how small that window is, right?
Yeah, and like if the Earth is big enough in the window, basically, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. All they have to do is, like, they could say that it's turned on its side, and that's the Earth, and you won't be able to tell the difference whether you're turned on the side or not. You could just say, no, we're not turned on the side. It doesn't feel like it, and then they would just be like, but we're in space, so duh, it doesn't feel like it. And then what do you have? You got nothing. That's it.
Even the ISS, at the ISS height, they're only seeing a small port. They're not seeing the whole half of the sphere. So I don't think that's too ridiculous to say that you wouldn't be able to differentiate unless they showed you Antarctica as a continent.
Yeah, I get
you
your
have
point.
to take their word for it, basically.
Speaking of Mars, thanks for the super chat, C4. Oh, go ahead, Jeremy. You had something else to say about that?
No, that's all.
The Mars rover, I don't know what they're calling this one, is about to land, evidently. So they're talking about that. February
On Greenland
18th,
or Devon Island.
2021. Yeah, NASA Perseverance rover. I don't even remember them sending this one off. But anyway.
That's rich that they call that Perseverance.
I'm sure the landing will be nominal.
You know how big nominal? You know how big this thing is? 2,000 pounds, man. It's a ton. Hopefully the little thing that shows how it's going to land and is this one. It doesn't look like it, but it's going to deploy a parachute and then like float down to the surface.
We all know that NASA is the pinnacle of perseverance. I go to the moon in a nanosecond. Problem is,
yeah,
right. Let me see.
Who does the greatest achievement? Who does the greatest achievement in the history of mankind, and then fucking loses the technology? What are you, an idiot?
and then just scraps all the tech. They're just like, oh man, this worked great. Over and over and over again, it worked and it was fantastic. So let's destroy it all and not build upon that in any way, shape, or form.
Dude, and tape over
that's how humanity works.
And tape over the videotapes, the only videotapes that you have
tape
of this
over
and
any
shit.
evidence that it ever actually happened.
But you at least save like
video was film was expensive, so we had to tape over it.
Right. You know, I don't know, Jeremy, you've heard Jim Service say a lot too that, oh, it's not that. They're now rebuilding it for it to be a better experience, right? It's gonna be a better now. It's you guys don't get it. They didn't destroy it in that way. It's not lost. They're gonna fix it. For fuck's sake, it's 2021. They're sending stuff everywhere. We're not gonna go back to the moon. I mean, come on, we should be doing so much stuff. It's unbelievable because it's so close. It makes no sense.
Well, I mean, if an asteroid comes down and kills us, like they did, they claim it did the dinosaurs, and humanity becomes extinct, I blame this all on NASA for not having us on Mars by now or something.
Right? Where's my base on the moon?
That would be my #1 priority if we really were in the helios. I used to think this before I became a flat earther. I'm like, why aren't we on the moon or Mars yet? What if the thing that killed the dinosaurs gets us, and then we're all extinct?
Dinosaurs, are they real?
Well, let's not go there just yet, but
yeah,
just yet.
You're panicking about dinosaurs and how they died. We have some discussions to have, Jeremy. You're in for a treat. You don't have to worry
going off of their model.
Garbage.
Going off of their heliocentric model and the whole story they tell. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I get it. Yeah.
I know, right? Can't help but laugh.
They've got this little video of how it's going to land here that I'm showing on screen right now. So it's going to fly in like that.
How's it going to leave again? Is it going to stay there?
I don't think it leaves.
They getting us
Yeah.
like pre-game hype here? Is that? Here we go, guys.
Here it comes.
Get John Madden on here describing all the things. And then it's going to put down the landing feet here. and then it's going to do a double back maneuver. That's when you know you've landed on Mars right there.
The funny thing, this animation of the thing landing on Mars is going to be the realest part of this thing landing on Mars.
Probably,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the realest part of the landing on Mars, is the animation they made.
And it's going to drop that little thing out, and that's got jetpacks on it.
You gotta have jetpacks. I mean,
is this the one with the helicopter on it too? They're going to fly a little mini helicopter around Mars. I don't know. Pretty neat animation though. Pretty good job they did.
If that's the case, so they're just gonna it's gonna automatically open the doors and the helicopter's gonna fly out. Everything's already ready to go. I mean, some of these things I haven't even thought about. It's ridiculous.
This is gonna be like a fucking Transformer movie.
Exactly.
Michael Bay in there to direct it.
That was sound effects, by the way.
That was that supposed to be a Transformer and a mid-transformation sound?
Actually, that was supposed to
I didn't
be
know
the music that they play in the background of the trailers, where the really rough sounds that they do to get you all pumped. Whenever they're doing the trailer.
Oh, I totally got that, Bob. I don't know what's wrong with
Oh,
Jeremy.
okay, all right.
I just wasn't sure.
I thought it was pretty obvious. But
Super Flurfs, $5. Since the globe has nothing, I'll make a claim. All large bodies of water lie level and horizontal at rest. Shout out, try thinking.
True.
Thanks, Paige. Appreciate it.
Is that a claim, or is that just an observable thing that is?
It's fact.
I would consider that an observation, not a claim.
That's the truth, straight up.
I agree. Until presented with some evidence that water curves, that there's a giant hump in the Pacific Ocean of water. I'm going to go with that as being a fact myself.
By the way, you talked about this experiment, this code experiment for over a week. What happened today? Why are you not talking about that today?
Well, I didn't want to bore the hell out of people because we we have been talking about it a lot. But if anybody had any ideas, we can spend the last few minutes talking about it. Certainly.
Yeah, don't give up trying to brainstorm on this, guys, or add to what we have with White's words experiment or anything or test.
No, I'm still all in on it.
Yeah.
But I just thought we'd take the conversation other places today. But yeah,
Brandon, it was really annoying because on Jose's server today, I felt like, Rumpus was over there, by the way, and we were having that conversation yesterday, and then all of a sudden it was like, Rumpus acted like, oh, we weren't even having that conversation, that can't be done, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what the heck? Why don't these people really get it around their mind here and stick to one thing? You could tell when people are just lying.
Rumpus needs Adderall, is what the problem is with Rumpus. Or something. He's got some kind of thing where he's almost as bad as Fight the Flat Earth, where he's like bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, Rumpus kind of did a 180. 2-3 days ago, he was like, yeah, this is going to work. And he's trying to help us figure it out. And he's thinking, well, it's going to be tough, but we can make it neutrally buoyant. And then it just seems like he put up a block. He's like, no way it's going to work.
Well, the weird thing was
they tell you that they think it won't work, that means that they think something will be shown. And they don't like that idea.
The weird thing last night was Rumpus said, this is a whole new thing to what we proposed earlier. And it's like, this is the same exact thing. What are you talking about?
Oh, it was really pissing me
Anybody
off
remember?
because, it was me trying to get him to understand that it wasn't different at all. It was just describing it in a slightly different way and pointing out that as long as that line came off of the point that's closest to the end of the line, then that was game over. You don't have to lift the whole line off the ground. Now, it's still going to be a very difficult experiment.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous.
Yeah.
What are you nervous about?
Getting the line up off of point B. You know what the SAG calculator says, and I don't believe the SAG calculator, but that's a long stretch.
Yeah, it's a long way. It is a long ass way. I was driving again in my car, and I'm watching the odometer today to see just how long 3 miles would go by. And it was so freaking far. I'm like, holy crap, you're gonna stretch a line out over 3 miles. Even 3 miles is so long when you're talking about you're putting a 3 mile clothesline up.
Yeah, that's a long ass way, man. I was traveling. That's long.
It is. You don't think about it because you don't pay attention to it, but it's like watching a pot boil. You're like, holy shit.
If we had the right line with a winch, I think it could be done. I think. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Imagine the amount of power that you will need for 1 mile, right? The wrench, what kind of wrench you need. Now imagine 10 miles like that. That's gonna be a difficult task to do and very expensive.
Well, if the whole line weighs, they have fishing line that's, hundreds of pounds, and the whole thing will weigh like, you can have a mile of it weigh like 3 or 4 pounds or something. So, I don't know.
I think we're discounting
like
too how much the wind could affect this thing.
You got to go on a day with you got to go on a day with very little to no wind. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Within a 10-mile span, too.
Really no indoor places. Yeah, the sand too. Yeah, exactly.
If anyone has an indoor 10-mile stretch we can use, let us know.
Indoor. We're gonna have to contact Russia or something. You know what I mean?
I'd love to get in that deep borehole they got in Russia. That would solve it right there. Let me sink 2 plumb lines, 8 miles deep. I don't know how many feet wide the hole is, but 8 miles. I don't think the plumb lines would have to be very far apart at all.
I think it's only like 8 inches. It's small, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's only like 10 centimeters. Yeah.
That's fine. 8 mile fucking plumb line. How many?
I don't think it goes straight down either, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but I think it's like angled or something. We got another
the
super
hole
chat
that they got all the layers wrong.
Yeah.
That hole.
Yeah,
they can predict
Essie's
the center
favorite hole.
They can predict the center of Earth, but Essie loves that hole.
Leaping 4J. Jose has spent the last 3 years researching and listening to Flat Earth and doesn't understand perspective yet. Really? $7.99 Australian, I think. Thank you, Leaping 4J. Appreciate it. All right. Well, we got about 5 minutes. Anybody got anything else they want to talk about for a couple minutes? Does anybody have any other thoughts on the experiment or
a new experiment? We're still open to new ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything tangible that doesn't involve long range optics would be fucking great.
Jeremy, I've been really trying the past probably 4 months since I've been in Jim's server to reach out to other people, not necessarily flat earthers, but because I don't want us to provide evidence and them claim, oh, we weren't there, we don't know what you did. And these
whatever we do is going to need to be done again. But the first time I'd like there to be all trusted flat earthers there, so we don't get any sabotage.
When we talk about repeatability, how repeatability is like pulling a string over 3 miles for your average Joe. It's not.
For a team of
It's not
guys,
a
though.
repeatable experiment, practically speaking.
A team of guys, if all you need is a winch and the line and a couple scales, for a team of guys, that's not very difficult. If it works.
Would the fishing
It's not
line
like
hold, though, without breaking? That's what I'm worried about.
Some of them are hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and they're very light. So you got to,
really?
If it isn't that difficult with a team of guys, then it shouldn't be beyond, reasonable to expect it done within a certain time frame. Say 6 months. Is that enough? 3 months?
Are you putting a deadline on us, Jimbo? Or?
Damn, Jimbo. You're killing us here. I'm kidding.
No rush, but I need this done tomorrow.
It's all talk. And it's been talk.
No, you're right, Jimbo. You're right.
Yeah, we did.
We've been a lot of talk for a lot of, well, I'm not saying myself because I'm part of this community only recently, a year and a half, but there's been a lot of talk for a very, very long time. I remember when I first came to this community, I was on a live stream and I was hearing content creators in the room saying, oh, we've been mucking around for 3 years because there's nothing to do. And that's what pissed me off about getting out there and getting on my feet and start spreading this information more, because I could not believe I was walking into something where content creators were ready to step back and say, we don't care anymore. It's not that hard to explain this. There is no proof. It doesn't lie on us. We need to ask the questions that we haven't been asking. So us to even do these experiments, that's for our own validation in our hearts. For some people, they need it. For me, I don't. I've seen 53 miles with my own eyes that I should not be able to see that. And they want to claim refraction that they can't even claim. However, if they're going to claim it, they have to back it, and they haven't claimed and backed that either. Oh, they want to provide us some quantified BS that they can't show in reality. If they could show me in reality these things, then they could say it's a globe. But they can't. So therefore, I don't need to show anything they do. So please don't forget, this burden does not lie on us, and it lies on them.
I mean, I've been working on...
I have no proof, but I believe it. Thank you.
I've been
And
working
Stacey,
on this
I can show... Sorry?
No, go ahead.
Thanks, Jeremy. I can give you a real-life model that you can hold in your hands that has land and water and air and plants and, I can probably even put some lights in there, all that kind of stuff. They can't even get the most basic proof of concept going in actual, tangible, physical, real life that we can hold and touch and look at.
Yeah.
And all they say to me, well, will that predict eclipses and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh my God, you guys can't even show, you can't even do, all you can do is a ball. You can't put water on it. You can't put air on it. Your plants on the bottom are going to fall off. Like,
yeah, spinning water balls.
It's ridiculous.
I'd love to see that.
The thing is,
I just want something real. Sorry, go, Jeremy.
They asked me, like, when I first went into GEMS, they asked me, what would prove it to you, and I thought about a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, just a little simple straight line on a wall, and then we'll put some water under it. Sounds easy. And, I've been talking about this for a year, and we finally got something that's doable and solid, maybe, if we can get the line up off of point B, but, it's wintertime right now. This isn't exactly the most ideal time to do this, to wait till a nice, calm summer day, and, we'll try to get our people out there on this.
I just want to take a real quick second to point out how inane Paid NASA shill is. Are you ready, Paid?
Oh, please tell me how inane I am.
He's gonna.
How about some proof here? Just don't call me a name. Just some proof. That would be nice.
Yeah,
I
well,
just gave you some
the claim.
a minute ago.
Right. Hold on, Paige.
What I said to Stacey.
Hold on, Paige. Hold on. So, yeah, Paige, your response to what Stacey said was, so a belief with no proof, right?
That's correct. We have proof.
Okay, so what? Okay, hold on. What claim was she making?
That the Earth was flat.
No, that's not what she said.
Never said.
He wasn't even listening.
Yeah, that's not what she said. So
It's
you're
almost like he's not here to have a real conversation.
inane. That's too big of a word for you. That simply means stupid. If your stupid response demonstrates that you didn't even hear what she said.
He's running off an old script. Give him a break.
I'm running off a script. Look who's talking. The guy who has a theory without any proof.
Look who's talking.
The guy who has a theory without any proof admits he has no proof and still continues to say the
he
same
could
theory.
answer a question that wasn't the actual question that you'd asked, Travis, he spoke up again. Notice he was silent until somebody else said something that he could then respond to. Then he opened his mouth, said exactly the same thing again to him.
I'll talk to you, Paige, more
But
than enough. I know what you are. You talk about balls inside the gravity well of Earth and expect that inside the gravity well of Earth we're going to have water adhere to a ball. Excellent. Love it.
Yes, I expect you to prove what you claim. Yeah.
Inside the gravity well of Earth, you want us to prove it.
Oh, no. You go anywhere you need to go, but show it. Show it.
You couldn't make a model.
I expect proof, real proof.
There is proof. You just don't. You just don't accept it.
No, you don't. You've got math
So
equations.
what would be
you've got
proof?
pictures.
So you want me to make the
I've
Earth?
told you.
What do I have to do? Make an Earth to prove the Earth?
You couldn't
At
do
least
this
a
on the
basic proof of
Invisible
concept.
unicorns exist,
At
and
least
then they
what
can't
I
create the
can
invisible
do.
unicorns because they're invisible. What do you expect? Do you expect them to
You
show you
couldn't
invisible
make this-
unicorns?
hold on.
They're
Paid,
invisible.
doesn't it make Occam's razor? Doesn't it make more sense if I can show you a model that has more things working on it than what you can do in reality?
Thought you
Doesn't
didn't have
that
a
say
model.
that that's the more a proof of concept, NASA? You can't even do that.
We do.
Like
Even
a
if you
basic,
could-
like a
They're
basic.
pictures from the globe.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Even if you could take this
Yeah,
to the
not
ISS,
a proof of concept. Just pictures.
even if you took this to the ISS, Page's model would still be better than yours because you're not
No,
going to get
sorry.
gas to stick to the ball.
That's
Because-
right.
Yeah, because he's got no container.
Gravity.
You,
You don't
okay,
have
On the
do
ISS,
it.
Sorry.
where would you go to make this model? There's nowhere you could go.
Show you that.
So you want us to make an Earth-sized model to prove the Earth, right?
No,
No,
Excellent.
not
whatever.
Earth size. Proof of concept, NASA. Stop red herring everybody and straw manning.
No, the problem is
This is
you want
getting
gravity to
ridiculous.
exist inside the gravity well of Earth, which is excellent.
I told
By
you,
the way.
take it to the ISS.
Please,
Dude,
please
you can
be
go to
respectful.
space and do it if you have to.
Oh, Rocky is here. Hey, he's this guy's
If
up in
you
my fan base.
decide that that's the
Hello.
expectation, that's on you.
Hello.
All she said was
hear
prove
you.
it. If you decide that the only way to
I can
prove
prove
it
the
is
Earth
that
is
way,
round.
that sounds like a you problem.
I can prove the Earth is round, but you won't believe it.
Why
How?
haven't you?
We're talking
How?
about gravity. Prove gravity.
How can you prove the Earth is round?
3 sticks
How
on the
can you
same
do that?
longitude line. Nice time to do it.
Two masters and several degrees. Y'all need to pay.
Here, one second, I
your
gotta hide
respect.
my
Sorry, can I ask a
my little
question?
fanboy is here who seems to be
Can
infatuated
I ask
with
a
me.
question?
Go ahead, India.
Can you
Three
just stick to
sticks.
the
sticks.
subject, Paige?
Someone asked me how to prove the Earth. I told him how to prove the Earth is round.
Yeah,
3 sticks on the line of
other
longitude. Do it on
No, we were
do it
talking
on
about
March
gravity.
20th.
Can
No,
I
someone
ask
was
a
talking
question
about the Earth
that?
being round.
Paige, we hear you.
What are you doing when you put these 3 sticks in the ground? What is the Earth when you do this?
You put the sticks in the ground and measure the shadow at noon, solar noon.
And solar noon. So that's not helping me at the moment. You're just putting sticks in the ground and a shadow. What is the Earth when you do this? What are you trying to do?
Geometry. Yeah, you're figuring out the
What
angles
is
to the sun.
the geometry?
Well, you don't know
What
geometry,
geometry have
Paige,
you
so
put
I'm
those 3 sticks on?
on the same line
So
of
you're going
longitude.
back to you're going back
let
to
'em
personal
talk.
things. Like
No, I'm trying to explain geometry to people that don't understand geometry, so I'm sorry.
You understand geometry. I want to understand why you're claiming the geometry in the first place. So when you put
What do you
3
mean, why am I
sticks
claiming
or
the geometry?
whatever in the ground, what are you doing? Are you measuring the circumference of a presupposed spherical surface? When you
Not
do this,
presupposed. It's the only logical
not.
deduction you make from it.
that's what you're
it's
trying
not.
to prove.
It's not the only logical deduction. You've
Yes,
had
it
to
is,
make.
because if the Earth
Yes,
is flat,
hold tight.
if the Earth
Sorry.
was flat, it would not point
Hold
at the
on.
same place.
How many assumptions have you had to make with regards to
None
what the
so
light
far.
source is and where it is?
So
Yeah,
many.
well, you do have to assume the light
He's
source is a
so
real thing.
dishonest.
You do have to take that the light source is a real thing. Are you denying the sun is a real thing?
No, so now you're putting words into my mouth. I'm talking about what is it? How far away is it?
It's far away.
You don't know
you don't know
this.
how far away it is. It doesn't matter how far away it is.
Is it a
It's
reflection?
Yes, it does.
not a reflection. Where's it reflecting off of,
Sorry.
Jeremy?
Sorry, my friend. I can stand underneath a light and not have a shadow, but underneath my feet. I can walk away from that light that was above my head, and the shadow will increase in front of me. Now, I can do this on a flat surface.
That's correct.
So
However,
the Earth is-
however, listen to me now.
However-
Listen to me. If you do that with 3 sticks on a flat surface, all 3 sticks will point to the same point. If you do that on the Earth, on the Eratosthenes experiment, they will not point to the same point. The angles, the sun will be in 3 different locations at the same time. How is that possible?
I don't know what the sun is.
You do know what the sun is, actually. So there we go. Now we don't know what the sun is. So sun's not real. It's in 3 different locations at the same time.
I don't know what the
You
sun
should
is.
know.
And the only inference that you've got of what the sun is by a story that you've been told.
A story,
You don't
no,
know the
sorry.
distance
Wrong.
to it. You've got no first-hand experience of it. But
Oh,
you're
you have
working
to
on the
have-
presupposition that this sticks and shadows can only work on a curved surface.
No,
And it
not
can't.
no,
The
not
hold tight,
presupposition.
my friend. Hold on.
No, you're saying
Chinese
that,
work.
I've done this
You've only got two
experiment.
choices with this.
I have done
It's
this
either this or
experiment. Have
that.
you? You need to do this
The
experiment.
experiment has built-in presuppositions. That's
No,
what
it
he's
doesn't. Sorry. You either say the Earth is flat, the Earth cannot be flat. So what is the answer to it then?
It does have
Can you please
presuppositions
let
built in.
people
No, it does not.
speak
Only
without
has
cutting them off?
He won't. He won't. He never does.
It doesn't,
He's been coming
because
here
you
for
cannot
ages.
assume-
He
it
just
doesn't work
talks
on the
all
flat
over-
Earth.
He only has pre-recorded responses.
Now,
You
have you done
cannot
the
get him to
experiment
think
page?
about things
Have you
any
done the measurement
differently.
page?
See, he
Have you
will
done the
only
measurement page?
just talk over
Okay, guess
everybody
what,
and say the
Joe?
same
I'll talk over
thing.
people. Yeah.
He's
You're talking over
literally
me. I was talking here. I was talking, and you start talking over me.
I'll
Who's
let
still
you
talking
have the
who?
experiment. Listen, I'm gonna let you have the experiment. Okay, you got your experiment. But the problem is you're already still having that model in your head before you even do this experiment. And what they tell you, and where the sun is, and what it is, and all these things. If you take away all that and you do that experiment again, tell me what you find out.
You find out the Earth is
You're
round.
going to find out that sticks in the sunlight make shadows.
That's correct.
That's what you're going to find out.
And
That's how
with a little bit,
dishonesty is,
and
Stacey, that he
unfortunately,
still said-
2,000 years ago, Eratosthenes understood more math than you do, Jeremy, in 21.
Math
in
or the
2021.
globe
And now we're down
that you
to
believe
insults.
in? Math or
No,
the
math.
earth that we're standing
Math.
on? Right, you know math. We're doing math again. Concepts of math.
That's
That's what the
correct. Math.
entire model
Math
is.
is a language.
Did
Alright.
Eratosthenes
Oh.
know that when you triangulate a reflection, you get it? You get the. Go ahead.
There's not a
Can you
reflection,
lie
Jeremy.
with the language?
Go ahead and
when
NASA, can you lie?
Aristophanes done this. Sorry, Donna.
Can you lie with the language?
Can you lie with the language? Yeah, if you make inappropriate comments, but yeah, I suppose.
No,
But
I
with
said,
math-
can you lie with
with
our
math is difficult.
language?
With math it's
NASA,
difficult.
please, just answer me.
Difficult. It's difficult to lie in math with math. It
Can
really is.
you lie?
If you
Can.
miscalculate. Actually, no. With math, it's difficult to lie.
with math now.
Have you heard
difficult.
the equation, the three men who go to a hotel room, pay $10?
Oh, I love that one. I
make
love that
the dollar
one.
disappear?
What's this one?
Yeah, that riddle. That took me 10 years to
Shows
solve
that
that
math.
riddle. It took me 10 years
Yeah,
to solve that
shows
riddle,
that
and
math
the
is
answer
not-
to that riddle is that question is asked incorrectly.
No, Page.
No, just because
I'm sorry, you guys are
you
roboting on
phrase
me.
things differently because it's a language. If you
That's the
phrase
English-
things
that's the English
differently, you
language.
can make it lie.
It's the English language
NASA
that does
just
that.
said math. Hey, stop!
You can
Don't
lie in
talk
any
all over
language.
me. Now, I was speaking to NASA, and he said math was a language.
That's correct.
And I've asked him, can you lie using a language? It's an
Absolutely.
easy, simple yes or no question.
Math is not like English, though. It's difficult
just
to lie
a
with
yes
math. It
or
really is.
no.
I'm not going to
It's
give you yes
just
or no
a
because
yes
the
or
answer
no.
is you're trying to make a
The answer's yes.
incorrect answer.
No,
You're
you
trying to
have
make
to
an
do
incorrect
it
It is an
now.
easy answer,
So
though,
first,
NASA.
the answer is yes.
Oh yeah,
The answer
okay,
is
but
no.
I'm not
The
going to give it
answer
to
is-
you
So how difficult is
because
it
with
to
math,
do?
it's really difficult to lie unless you make a bad calculation
But
or
you can
incorrect.
do it.
No, you can't. No, I think you're
Well,
interpreting.
you can
You're
show
interpreting.
it by that. Yes, you can
No, she's
show
trying
it
to say
by
you can
that.
lie in any
math
language.
equation
When you
with
tell
the
a riddle
same
like that,
meant.
Therefore, you can lie.
You can use the English language to lie, and you can do calculations with math and translate them with English to lie. But with math itself, you can't lie. There's proofs in math. There's things that you can show to be true with math that could not possibly be a lie.
God.
Unless you miscalculate.
Coach,
Yeah, but if you
So are you
miscalculate,
saying
then
that
you don't have the right answer.
really quickly,
Listen, guys,
you've told
are you
me
claiming
that
that if you
geometric
write
horizon
something
is a
in the math
concept.
language, it is automatically true? Is that what you're
No,
claiming
that's what
right
I'm
now?
saying. No, that's
So you
she said
can lie
lying.
with math then.
Not lying. That's a
If
no.
you can write something with math that is not true, then you can lie with math.
Get something wrong in math.
Geometric
You
horizon.
can divide by
shows
zero. Yeah,
So
you can do
can
something
lie with
incorrect.
math.
You can divide by zero, and if you divide by zero, you can prove that 1 equals 2. I've seen it done, but you had to divide by zero.
So you can
But
lie
you
with
can't
math.
divide by zero.
No, not really. It's not if you do it correctly. Sorry.
And
Coach,
if
so
you're
is
the
a
ones
geometric
that are
horizon
miscalculating. Sorry, go, Stacey, you're fine.
It's okay. I'm sorry, honey. Coach, is the geometric horizon, is it lie and math?
Use math. Yeah, all most sciences use math. And
No. I'm asking this question very, very specifically.
They will never
Because we talked
answer
about this
the direct
before.
question.
The
They just
geometric
can't.
horizon, the reason I never see it, I've been told, is because it lies in math. So
because it's
math.
describing something mathematically. It's describing something
Describing,
geometrically.
only
you're
exists in the
describing
math.
something without any verification. So you're going to tell me that's not a lie? I mean,
No.
prove something without being shown.
Just because you don't understand math does not mean it's a lie.
Just because you said it's there
hold on.
by writing an equation down doesn't make it appear in reality.
Right.
You have to show us it in reality.
You have to give somebody the opportunity to respond.
You understand that.
Without ad-homing.
You don't. Math is not.
He's the one
you
saying
guys
you don't
continue this.
understand. He's the one out.
Phil, I didn't
I know that. That's why I'm asking him to stop doing that.
You don't understand.
I'm sorry. I stutter when I come up with complete idiots. It's difficult to explain math to people.
That's what I'm saying. Well, then stop trying then, because I have an explanation for them.
Thank
Nash,
you. Go ahead,
give me a
Coach.
second. Yeah, as I was saying, that math itself is not. You're not like when you describe something like the geometric horizon. You're using English to express something about geology or geography or whatever, using geometry. So you're not just using math. And so if you were to come up with some, if somebody was using that incorrectly, like in the Black Swan argument, I'd say that was incorrectly using.
That's not using
term.
it incorrectly.
Sure, regardless, I would say that that's not a flaw with math. That's not in line with math. That's using, English.
How did you come up with it? You've never seen it. How did you verify it?
Now you're just
coming up with the
debating what a lie
equation
is,
something
then.
that you don't even know because you've never seen. So therefore, it's a lie
Exactly.
based on math.
No.
Now you're
It's not a
debating
lie.
what a
You've never
lie is,
seen
not
it. You
what
just
math
assume it's there with math.
Well,
You've never seen it.
a re-
Nobody ever has. You just assume it's there.
It's a
And
reification.
you're assuming it with math.
It's a reification.
No, stop with this reification bullshit.
Yes, it is a
Math
reification.
is describing stuff.
Can
It is
I
not.
explain? Can I explain this?
Phil, don't talk over everybody, please.
I don't talk
Right.
if they're no. You guys
'Cause
don't
at the
stop with this
at the
reification
moment-
bullshit right now.
At the moment, I don't have any physical reality to back the claim of the math and geometry. So therefore, you're making a claim that the math and geometry is real, giving it misplaced concretism. Yeah, that's a reification because it's not real up until you prove it to be true. What you need to prove is the curvature of the Earth directly measured over water. You failed to do that. Everything else is a presupposition.
Oh, why do I have to measure direct measurement water the fall?
Because you've
the
got
curvature of the
because you've
water.
got-
Why do I have
because
to
you've
do
got
that?
nothing- Because you're making a claim about physical reality, but got nothing to give me physically
But
to
the
base that claim on.
experiment proves this by math. Sorry. If you don't understand math, it's not my fault.
I do understand math. Hold tight. Sorry, I do.
If you don't
math. I'm
understand,
just trying to figure out.
if you don't
where
understand
it is
tangents, I'm sorry.
in
If you
your
don't understand
tangent.
Hey, NASA, can you stop doing
He's
that, man?
spiraling. He can't control it.
Like
He
the
never can
conversation
control
can be had
himself.
here, but now if we spend the entire time,
No, it can't,
ad hoc.
Kosho. This guy never stops.
No, it's fine.
He doesn't.
He will stop. He's not going to keep doing it, I don't think. But anyways,
No, he won't.
we're okay, fine. But maybe
Let's
he
just
will.
talk,
Maybe he will.
Paige.
Let's not take
Why don't you
bets
just
on
shut
it.
up for a while? If you would
why
shut up
don't
for a
you
while, I'll
tell
shut up for a
him?
while, Paige.
Not
Paige,
take
you
bets
shut up,
on
I'll
it.
shut up. How
I
about that?
do. I do,
No, you
Nessa.
don't. You never stop.
Okay, let's get back to what Jedi had just
Oh
said
my
about
God.
misplaced
Yep, let's do that,
concreteness and the whatever else he said. I don't think that's true because when the definition of the geometric horizon is not describing something that you're expected to see, it's strictly describing using
Then
math.
you believe in something
Where
you
the
can't
geometric horizon
see.
would be, but
Hey,
it's not.
Paige, I thought we were being
it's not
quiet.
You've never
describing it. It's not
seen.
describing something that
Paige, I
you're
thought we were
expected
being
to see.
quiet.
I understand what you say, Kosho. You're saying that it's geometric, but we shouldn't see it. But then the question becomes, what are ships
Can't be
going
geometric.
over then? Sorry,
Are we being
what are
quiet, Paige?
boats going over? What are they hiding behind? Because you're claiming physical obstruction. So that must be where the geometry, claim to physicality, dictates, but it's not. There's your problem.
I'm not saying
Jedi,
that you
have
shouldn't
you-
see it. I'm not saying you shouldn't see it. I'm saying that the definition of the word is describing something that you're not expecting to see. Like with the same thing with a fish in the water. A fish's position in the water, from your vantage point, is there. It is going to be there, but it's
Okay,
never going to
but-
be what you expect to see because of things like
Just
refraction.
because you're not expecting to see it does not remove the onus on you to provide the proof of it. Just because you say, "Oh, you're not expected to see it," that doesn't prove that it exists. That just means that you're telling us we can't see it, but we should still believe you that it exists.
Yeah,
That's
but
not good enough.
you do see the horizon.
No.
You see the horizon.
You're not your
So-
geometric one. No, you don't. No,
No, you don't see. You don't see the
Yes, you do
the
see the
same thing with the
geometric
fish.
horizon. Yes, you do.
don't
Sorry.
see the actual position of the fish. You see the refracted position of the fish. You don't expect to see
We're
the
not
geometric
talking
horizon.
about looking through water. We're talking
Refraction is refraction. Sorry, it's the same concept.
You don't have the R value to even create your refraction anymore.
But you can prove the R value. You mean the insulation?
No, stop
or
for
the
a
radius
second.
of the Earth?
Can you stop for a second? You can't make the refraction math until you have seen the geometric horizon once at least.
No,
you
it's
have
not
to
correct,
have at
because you can
least.
prove the radius other ways, Paige.
Oh
the Artosi's
my
experiment
God. See,
is
Kosho?
basically independent of refraction. Pictures from
No.
space are independent of
Where's your R
refraction.
value? Where's your R value then? Where'd you get it?
On the Eratosthenes experiment with math.
From shadows.
He
There
had
you go
that
From
again.
shadows,
You have
exactly.
to have
Thank you
that
very much.
R value. Where's your R
We
value?
do.
the first time you
No,
go
you don't
out
need that. You
there-
figure out the R. You figure out the radius of the Earth from the Eratosthenes experiment. You do not need
No,
refraction.
you don't have it.
Yes, we do.
So you don't measure it.
We do measure it.
Have you seen
Okay,
Soundly's
That's not what you just said. You
Pontchartrain?
said you figured out from math.
That's correct.
Okay, so you don't measure it.
What do you mean you don't measure it? How do you get the math? You measure
You
it.
calculate it.
So what?
Well, I'm asking
Well,
you
that's
how you
different
get it.
from
You
measurement.
said
Sorry.
that you
No,
do math.
wrong.
How'd you get the math?
A
You
measurement
say,
isn't a
if
calculation,
the-
and a calculation isn't a measurement.
Those
You
aren't the
ask
same
how you
thing.
get the math. That
2
would be
plus
the
2
same
equals
to
4. It's not a
geometry.
measurement.
Sorry. You ask how you got the math. That would be you declaring that the Earth is now a geometric shape A ball. And everything that happens on that, including shadows, will give me something about that ball. You're not directly measuring it. You presuppose it's a ball in the first place. That's
No,
what
no,
Aristophanes.
no,
That's
incorrect.
That's what Aristophanes did.
Nope,
The Earth is a
sorry.
ball. I bet I can figure out the
Yes, he
circumference of
did.
it by these shadows.
Yep.
Yeah. Eratosthenes assumed that Earth was a ball. That's actually
Well,
correct.
you don't need to assume the Earth is a ball
Thank
because there is
you.
no other
Wait,
explanation.
let me
There is
finish.
no other explanation for it. Sorry.
Guys,
Yeah,
let
but
me-
at
let me-
least
let
you
me
will be
finish.
honest enough to admit that.
Let
They
me
won't even
finish.
admit that.
Guys,
With
let me
3
finish,
points, you
please.
cannot assume
Let
that the
me
Earth
finish
is
this,
flat.
sir. Come
Talk
on.
one at a time, man. Yeah.
With
Let
3
me
points,
finish.
you cannot assume. With 2
Chill.
points, you
Nessa.
can. With 2 points, you can
Let
delude yourself
Yossi.
Oh,
He's
my
on your
goodness.
side,
into the Earth is
dude.
flat. The third
This guy
point
did.
proves that the
Chill.
Earth
This
is
guy's
not
been waiting,
flat.
man. This guy's been waiting to speak. He hasn't been talking over everybody. He's been so.
Thank you. Go ahead, man.
So
Down below.
Eratosthenes, specifically Eratosthenes, given that he existed, used 2 sticks, and he assumed that the Earth was a ball, and all he wanted to do is to calculate the radius. But
Yes.
when we speak about modern replications of the experiment with more than 2 sticks, then yes, this you don't presuppose a ball. You see that the results are matchable. So this is what I
But
wanted
what
to say.
have you assumed about the sun?
That was far away enough to give you parallel rays.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
No,
I did this.
But
I did
they're
this
not.
test
Hang
with a
on.
bunch of fools.
Stop, Kosho. Stop. I need to be able to reply to that. When you look at the sun, no, hang on. He made a claim about the sun that they're parallel light rays. They're not. You can look at the sun in reality and see that the light rays are diverging.
Oh, how do you do that, Paige?
So please, by looking at it
Paige.
with my eyes, you
How
can
do you do
see
that,
it.
though?
Crepuscular ray. They think the crepuscular
Crepuscular rays? Yeah,
crepuscular
see
rays
some
are
crepuscular rays now? Is that what we're
parallel.
proving now?
How do you look at something? Are you serious, dude?
Yes, I'm serious. Crepuscular rays are parallel.
Yeah,
That
look at
is
the
actually
gifs in the chat.
perspective. That is actually perspective that you guys don't understand.
Oh my
posted some
God!
pictures
You
in the-
want
in the-
to
in the chat.
change what I actually see in
What you
reality?
actually see is
Equation.
what you actually see is fooling your eyes.
Oh
Yes,
my
they
Your eyes are
want to
actually
change
being
what I
fooled.
actually see
Here, look at this.
with
Look
my
at this.
own
Look at
eyes.
Scott.
and
Look at Scott.
change
Look at what
that
Coach
to
put on.
math
Hey guys,
equation.
Look what Coach put on.
hey, y'all! It's about time to wrap it up. You guys can continue in the after show, but I do have one Streamlabs to read from Math. A squared equals B squared plus C squared times A squared. I believe that's what that is. Equals radius of the Earth in miles, 3959, plus the squared plus the distance in miles squared equals 15,673,682, and thus A equals 3959, 0.126 miles. Thus 3959, 0.126. They're getting their money's worth on this one. Minus 3959 equals 0.000126 miles. 0.000126 miles equals 12 inches divided by miles times 5280 feet divided by miles times 0.000126 equals 7.98 inches, or approximately 8 inches of curve in 1 mile. You guys follow that?
Somebody didn't have their Ritalin this morning.
No, actually, you lost me.
Sorry, I did my best. That is quite the one there, Math. Appropriately named Streamlabs there. Thank you very much.
Pretty sure that's from Robotham. Yeah.
What's that?
That's from Robotham's calculations. He had done that in the 1800s. I've seen that written out.
Oh, have you? Okay, yeah, it is in quotes too. So that makes
The
sense.
flat earther said the Earth had a radius.
He's the one who came up with the 8 inches per mile squared, and he did it by doing that math right there, and not in order to tell you what it would be, would tell you to calculate what it should be, so he can test it.
All right, well, let's
the
do
8 inches that we can't measure.
Here, I'll paste it in the general here, and then let's do final thoughts in case anybody wants to read it again. We'll start off at the top. Allie B, if you're there. Final thoughts. Bandsaw Bandit. C4. Effie Fairy Tale Extraordinaire. Global Virus Foe.
Yeah, great show as usual. And I just want to say that last conversation that we got into there about with Pay Nasa Chill and saying that, oh, well, you just need to put these sticks down and look at the shadows and then you'll know it's a ball. That's proof. It just shows the dishonesty with the side of the ballers, because obviously when pointed out, hey, you're presupposing specific things about the sun, they just go, no, it just is this way. And that makes me happy that I'm a flat earther, because, I mean, again, just follow the truth. I mean, if you're called out, you're called out.
Thank you, Global Virus Foe. Jedi.
Yeah, that last thing about if you're called out and truth, that kind of rung a bell for me. Yeah. There's lots of people that are being woken up to this, and honestly, I've just got questions that up until now I have not had answered. Physical demonstrations or measurements to the claim about what reality is and does. People making claims about what reality is and does, but without demonstrating it to be true. Not even observed phenomena in certain circumstances. But a great show, mate. Really enjoyed it. Hope to be back again soon.
Good. Thank you. Yes, thanks for coming. Jimbo.
Well, good show. But again, for me, I look at things from a practical level. You know, you want to say that pulling a string with a wench over 3 miles on a scale with a bunch of people is practical and repeatable. I say nay. So I don't know. I just think if it's that practical and doable, we'll get it done and have someone else repeat it. Otherwise, drop it for a while, get a group going and talk about it in private or do whatever and get it done, then show us. But all this moaning on about it and stretching this and pulling your wire here and this and that, I'm kind of sick of it after a couple of years of it. Rather not hear it for 2 more years.
All right, thanks, Jimbo. George. Oh, he's on Deafin Co-Show.
Yeah, I got a couple things I wanted to say. To start out about this format. So I do like this format. You do a pretty good job. Both Brendan, I think Jeremy's moderating too. So I think you guys do a good job. It's just I think everybody else though, it makes, I don't know, it'd be a lot more substantial content, substantive content if we allow each other to speak to each other instead of try to talk over each other. It's the same way in every server. Just advice for the rest of the room.
Agreed.
Also, I wanted to tell Paige. I don't know if you saw the GIFs I posted. I posted a couple of GIFs about the corpuscular rays. And lastly, I think most of you guys are aware, but I've done this test, a modern day Aristosthenes style test, except for I did it purely with the for the purpose of determining whether it was if it matched a flat Earth or matched a globe. And so there were no presuppositions, there was no assumptions in the way in which I did my test. And we used 23 people, And we talked to Jeremy a lot about doing tests he talks about, and we're in the process of purchasing GPS RTK device that will allow us to get centimeter accuracy with positioning points on the Earth, so make things like a straight line and all this kind of type of stuff. So, yeah, be on the lookout for that. That's all.
Thanks, Kosho. Matrix Media.
Good show, Brandon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Paid NASA Shill.
Water's wet, the sky is blue, grass is green, the earth is round. Do the air tossing experiment for yourself. You guys keep on saying, do your own research, do your own research. Actually, do the damn experiment and see what you get. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Paige.
Yeah, all I want to say is you can't take what we see in reality, what I see with my own eyes, what I feel with my own senses. You can't take that, change it with a bit of math, and expect me to just believe it. You know, I look at the sun, I can see the light rays are diverging. They're not parallel, they're not converging. I can see it with my own damn eyes. You know, if you expect us to take you seriously, then come up with some tangible proof of what you claim. Otherwise, what we see and feel is what it is. Yeah, so good show. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you, Paige. Point G.
Yo, this fucking Eratosthenes thing is not an experiment. It's affirming the consequent fallacy on the highest order. Also, I invited Kosho to bring his bullshit ass GPS device so we can show him that GPS doesn't work correctly. And you know, we're welcome to the after show. It's coming up. This is where the fucking goons really come out. So I'll see you there.
All right, thank you. Rakia. Real planets have, damn, I can't see the end of it, but I know that's naps. No, Stacy.
Real planets have curves.
Okay.
I want to thank Brandon for the show tonight and having the respect to let all of us speak on your platform and not being about politics. I also want to thank everybody who joined us, because everybody in here does count on what we're doing in this movement. I feel like the movement has stopped. I've been saying this for 2 years. We are becoming an echo chamber because these globers want us to become one. The R value is not there. I want to see it. I don't want to rely on math. Math does not give me reality. Okay, I'm asking for demonstrations of physical reality. We all are. We've been begging for it, and I'm tired of the nonsense. If you can provide that, then we will listen. Listen, but you're not providing it. It's the same old every day. And the name calling and the ridiculousness that happens on these servers needs to stop. We need to come together and make this shit happen, or we need to go to our own group and start really doing some activism, because this is not where it's going to lie. But I appreciate every platform, and we need to get the message out in any way, shape, or form. But I'm asking for reality. That's it. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you for all the support too. And I love every single one of you.
Thanks, Stacy. Bob.
Hey, I'll just go ahead and address what Peyton Shilly said in his final thoughts. Yeah, the grass is green, except when it's not. The sky is blue, except when it's not. And repeating the actions of somebody else and blindly accepting the explanation of what those results mean is not the same as doing an experiment or doing your own research.
Thanks, Bob. And Yossi.
Yes, I just want to say that you guys are all passionate about that. Many of you like to argue with the other side. I just appreciate the fact that I asked not to drag me into an argument, and you respected that. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I gave up. At the beginning, when I came into Flat Earth, I was very passionate and trying to convince flat earthers that Earth is a ball. But right now, it's like I think there is a big gap, a huge gap between flat earthers and globbers with regards to the points where both sides begin with. And I mean, this gap is so huge that I already gave up. Not because I'm right or wrong, just I think it's pointless. So yeah, I'm still here because I don't know, it just pulls me in, but I'm not here to argue or debate or stuff like that. Done. I'm done.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Yossi. Yeah, I think it's fine. We don't all have to argue with each other. It's my final thoughts now. So happy you're here. Happy everybody's here. Thank you for joining the panel. You guys are what makes the show. So I really appreciate it. And I will be back. I'll record the after show in about 5 minutes. I will be recording. So just so everybody knows, we'll see you later. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Okay. That's it. That's the end of the show. I need some end of show music. Anyway, thank you for supporting the channel. Thanks for watching the show. Appreciate it, guys. Hope you have a good night. Tomorrow is Friday. Finally, looking forward to it. So we will see you tomorrow night. Don't know what'll happen. Seems like some Fridays are dead. Some Fridays are pretty cool. Hopefully tomorrow's a pretty cool one. Thanks to everybody who Streamlabs or super chatted the show. Thanks to the channel members. And thanks to everybody active in the chat. Anybody that watches. Much appreciated. We will see you tomorrow night. Everybody have a good night.